While most individuals in this world could only fuse with a single monster, the anomaly had the unprecedented ability to fuse with as many as 9.99 million monsters. The first monster he ever fused with was none other than the legendary Emperor Demon Rare, a creature born of a royal bloodline. Despite awakening such an extraordinary gift, he was still ridiculed by society, labeled a failure. The truth was, the world evaluation system was far too outdated and simplistic. It couldn't even begin to comprehend or measure his boundless potential. That's the story of our protagonist, who gained all the monster powers in the world. And our protagonist, consciousness descended into this new world. Snapping his eyes open, he found himself disoriented, still trying to make sense of his surroundings. Then, without warning, a strange message echoed in his mind. This realm was called Blue Star, a land governed by martial strength and repeatedly plagued by monstrous beasts that emerged through mysterious dimensional rifts. These terrifying creatures had already reduced numerous nations to rubble. Over countless years of war, humanity had devised a countermeasure, the beast gene system. By injecting themselves with a monster's genetic essence, humans could awaken their hidden potential and rise as powerful warriors. This, they believed, was the only hope of saving what remained of civilization. Thus, Blue Star entered a new age, an era where martial might dictated everything. At the heart of this world stood Ihei, a young man transported from another dimension. Now, he was a warrior preparatory student on the brink of his final examinations. Once full of promise, Ihei's resolve had shattered during his sophomore year when a tragic accident claimed the lives of both his parents. Since then, his training had faltered, and he fell to the bottom of his class. As he sat in silent contemplation, wondering where to go from here, the teacher stepped confidently to the front of the room and addressed the students. "All right, everyone, are you ready? We're about to start the gene modification injections. Remember, everything you've worked for over the past 3 years, building strength and cultivating martial energy, is for this moment." Then, with a sharp gaze sweeping across the class, the teacher added, "As for those who haven't taken things seriously," watching the teacher, Ihei's thoughts stirred. "This is ridiculous. I've been putting in the work. Why should I feel guilty? But since I've taken over the original owner's responsibilities, it's time to clean up his mess." Soon after, the class was led into the gene injection hall, where several sleek metal cases were arranged neatly on a table. Inside each box lay a gene awakening serum, containing raw genetic data collected from countless monsters. Upon injection, one of the monster genes would awaken within the student. In most cases, the stronger the individual's body, the stronger the monster gene they would manifest. The teacher gave a calm reminder: don't be nervous after the injection. Remain calm and accept the power. When I call your name, please come up and collect your serum. Chinong Fei, Miao, Yuna. One by one, the students came forward and received their injections. As the serums entered their bodies, their skin began to steam. Agonized screams echoed through the hall, each student writhing in pain from the genetic fusion process. Ihei hesitated for a moment. Then, taking a deep breath, he closed his eyes tightly and plunged the needle into his body. But time passed and nothing happened. There was no searing pain, no heat, no transformation, just silence. Noticing this unusual stillness, the teacher looked over, puzzled. It seems like you're not reacting." Ihei gave a casual shrug, responding with a grin. "Teacher, did I get the fake serum or something?" Before the teacher could answer, a voice rang out. Wang Tong Tong, who had already completed her awakening, strode over smugly and laughed. "Look at this. It doesn't seem to have awakened at all. A warrior who hasn't awakened is like a bird without wings. Isn't that game over for you? But I guess that works out for you. You won't have to be a warrior and can just go home and wait to die." Wang Tong Tong had a reputation for bullying those weaker than herself. Seeing Ihei's seemingly timid demeanor, she often singled him out. Ihei was about to retort, but just then he felt a sudden, intense thudding in his chest, his heart pounding violently. Something was happening. At that very moment, A system interface suddenly materialized in Ihei's mind. Its cold, mechanical voice echoed within him. Infinite monster template acquired. Host, E. System rating, B. Martial arts, 9 sets of student-level Qi cultivation, mountain fist, hard Qiang, monster templates extracted. The words weren't just text. He could feel the data flooding through his body. Realizing something was building inside him, he quickly shouted, "Move aside!" Wong Tong Tong, as arrogant as ever, scoffed and crossed her arms. "What's the matter? So what if you haven't awakened? Stop pretending. Leave. Why should I?" Ihei gritted his teeth, struggling to contain the surging energy tearing through him from within. He whispered, his voice low and ominous, "If you don't leave now, it'll be too late." And then it happened. A violent surge erupted from his body. In that instant, Ihei awakened, and the Emperor Demon Ra bloodline burst forth. A shockwave exploded outward. Wong Tong Tong, who had been standing directly in front of him, was blasted across the room, slamming hard into the ground. Most of the students nearby were knocked off their feet, some even vomiting from the overwhelming pressure in the air. Only 2 students remained unmoved, their eyes narrowing in disbelief as a single thought passed through both their minds. Is there someone stronger than me? Suddenly, the system interface updated again. Awakened A-class template, Emperor Demon's Wrath. Bloodline abilities, Azure Breath, Thermonuclear Pulse, Nuclear Energy Absorption, Evolution Form, Emperor Demon's Wrath. Template compatibility fully unlocked. Current compatibility, 3%. As the mechanical prompt echoed in his mind, Ihei's heartbeat surged to its peak. A strange blue light flickered in his eyes. He looked down in awe at his own hands, watching as his fingers glowed with eerie blue energy. He whispered to himself in disbelief, "Is this the golden finger the system gave me?" Around him, whispers and murmurs spread like wildfire. Shocked students stared wide-eyed at the aftermath. Was that really Ihei? Did he just blast everyone away with his energy field in an instant? Wong Tong Tong got knocked out, and she awakened the second-tier monster, the Flame Lizard. What exactly did Ihei awaken? Feeling slightly embarrassed, Ihei scratched the back of his neck and muttered, "I guess my awakening caused a bit of commotion. I told them to step aside, but they didn't listen." Just then, the school's broadcast system echoed throughout the building. "All third-year students who have awakened, please proceed immediately to the testing hall for gene awakening and martial arts level assessment. Repeat, all third-year students proceed to the testing hall." Inside the testing hall, 10 high-tech cylindrical machines stood tall, each one pulsing faintly with light. As students stepped into the chambers, a large screen above the podium displayed their information in real time: name, class, martial arts level, and the awakened monster gene. A few excited voices began to rise from the crowd. Li Yuan from our class awakened the third-tier monster bloodline of the speed blade insect. He was just an average student before. Now he's number 1 in our class. Chu Ho is definitely the top of the grade. Not only is he a level 9 martial disciple, but he also awakened the Ice Dragon, one of the strongest third-tier bloodlines. Looks like the valedictorian of our city will be him. Did you see what Miss Lu awakened? Holy crap, a rare 4th-tier bloodline, the Ghostly Phoenix. Provincial champion for sure. If a 4th-tier monster's royal form appeared, it could destroy an entire city. Regular warriors wouldn't stand a chance. Only true masters could hope to survive. Listening to their chatter, Ihei felt a wave of confusion rise within him. Wait a minute, they're all talking about 3rd and 4th-tier monster bloodlines. Then why is mine labeled as A-class? Soon, it was Ihei's turn for the bloodline assessment, and the tension in the room surged. That shockwave he released earlier. I bet he's destined to become a big shot. If he plays his cards right, he'll definitely catch the eye of someone powerful. As Ihei stepped toward the testing machine, the crowd instinctively parted to make way. In this world where strength defined status, overwhelming potential commanded respect, and Ihei, after that incredible energy surge, had earned it. Whispers filled the air. It's Ihei's turn. With the energy field he just released, his level has to be high. What kind of bloodline could cause such pressure right after awakening? This guy's definitely something. All eyes were on him as he calmly stepped into the scanner. A few tense seconds passed before the results appeared on the screen. But to everyone's surprise, the display showed only basic information. Class, 7 Martial Disciple level, 3 Beast Bloodline. Unknown. A moment of silence was broken by a burst of laughter among the students. Martial Disciple level 3? My little brother in middle school could beat him. Unknown bloodline? He probably doesn't even have one. But Ahei ignored the mockery entirely. Everything was unfolding exactly as he had expected. The Emperor Demon RA bloodline wasn't detected by the primitive scanning system, but what had appeared in his interface was far more valuable. The prompt for the infinite monster template. Unlike the others, his template wasn't a single, fixed path. It was an evolving one. As long as he met specific conditions, he could extract an unlimited number of monster templates. Doesn't that mean I could become the king of monsters? With a clear plan in mind, Ihei approached his teacher to request a leave of absence. The teacher frowned in disbelief. What? You want to take leave to study at home and return after the exams? Do you really think I'll believe you'll go home and actually study? Ihei replied sincerely. Teacher, I really want to improve. I know I've fallen behind, and I need special training. If I don't catch up, I won't make it. The teacher looked skeptical. Seriously, Ihei, you do know the only way to become a warrior is by going to university, right? I understand you've awakened your bloodline, but your foundation is too weak. You won't pass the entrance exams. Get ready to repeat the year and come back next year. Don't rush. But Ahei's eyes were full of determination. Teacher, only by rushing can I improve. Maybe you don't understand, but now that I've awakened a powerful bloodline, with hard training, I'm sure I can succeed. You see the sincerity in my eyes. I would never lie to you. The teacher paused, taken aback by Ahei's resolve. After a long moment, he nodded. Your eyes do seem sincere. All right, but next year, you'll still need to return and repeat the year under my supervision. Ihei bowed his head respectfully. Thank you, teacher. Leaving the school behind, Ihei made his way toward the Warrior Center in the city. On the way, he considered his current situation. He had used his parents' house as collateral to secure 600,000 credits, and with the compensation from their accident, he had over $1 million in funds, a solid foundation. There were now 2 main paths to becoming stronger. Increase his warrior rank. Enhance the compatibility of the Emperor Demon RA template. According to the system, each monster template begins with a compatibility of 1%. But his Emperor Demon RA template had started at 3%. That raised an important question. Where did the extra 2 points come from? The only explanation was that the Gene Awakening Serum had been absorbed by the Emperor Demon RA template, boosting its compatibility by an additional 2%. This discovery revealed a crucial fact. Gene scientific serums can enhance template abilities. Compared to the slow, grueling process of physical training, using money to improve template compatibility was far more efficient, at least for him. If he wanted to gain power quickly, purchasing enhancement serums was the logical path forward. As he entered the Warrior Center, swiping his student ID at the entrance, he could feel something new stirring inside him. Since awakening the Emperor Demon RA template, he had acquired a unique perception ability, life magnetism. Now, as he walked among the warriors inside the facility, he could sense it, burning vital energy and beast roars pulsing through the bloodlines of those around him. Each one radiated life like a furnace, full of untamed power. His heart pounded, not from fear, but from something deeper. It was the urge to conquer. After all, the legendary Emperor Demon RA was once the king of monsters in their world. Unfortunately, Ihei was still a rookie, barely scratching the surface of that power. For now, he could only suppress the bloodline's combat instincts and endure the storm within. But one day, when he had gathered enough strength, the world would witness what it truly meant to become the king of monsters. Just then, a gentle hand landed on his shoulder. "Little one, don't go peeking into other people's business," a warm voice said. You must have just awakened your beast gene, right? It's normal not to be able to control your power at this stage. What brings you to the warrior center? Ihei turned around and saw a beautiful older sister smiling at him. He bowed politely. Beautiful sister, sorry. I didn't mean to. I came to buy gene serums, but this place is so big, I can't find where to go. Could you help me with directions? The woman's smile widened slightly. Gene serums? You want to use them already at this stage? Ihei hesitated, wondering if he had touched on some kind of taboo. But the woman reassured him with a chuckle. It's not a big deal. But gene serums are expensive, and they can easily lead to drug resistance, meaning they become less effective over time. To get the most out of them, most warriors wait until their bloodlines are fully developed before using any. How much does one gene serum cost? He asked curiously. At your current stage, you'll only be able to use the basic consolidation type serum. That costs around 400,000 credits. Ihei's eyes widened in shock. That's so expensive. At best, my entire savings would only buy me 5. He quickly asked, do you happen to know anyone who can give me a discount? The woman smiled again and handed him a business card. Here, take my card. On it was written, Huang Yuli, level 4 martial disciple. With an introduction from an experienced warrior, you might get a small discount, she said warmly. Ihei bowed in gratitude. Thank you. After parting ways, he made his way to the warrior hospital, where he spent 1.45 million credits on 4 gene serums. With the remaining funds, he purchased some basic warrior gear and weapons. Warriors might earn a lot, but they spend even more. In the span of a day, Ihei had gone from a comfortable middle-class student to someone living paycheck to paycheck. Back at home, he wasted no time. He carefully prepared the first injection. As the light blue fluid entered his bloodstream, a wave of power surged through him. His veins lit up like fire, his blood boiling, as if a giant beast inside him roared with joy. He continued, injecting the remaining 3 vials one after another. By the end, his system displayed the changes clearly. Emperor Demon Template Compatibility, 3% 7% Physical Constitution, Level 8 Level 15 Martial Disciple rank, Level 7 Ihei clenches fists. So this is what improvement feels like. Nice. However, he quickly noticed something. The first 3 injections increased his physique by 2 levels each, but the last one only raised it by 1. So, even with serums, improvements slow down as I progress. No shortcuts forever, huh? Still, in just a few minutes, he had achieved what would normally take 3 years of hard training. And that's just my normal physical condition. If I activate the power of the Emperor Demon RA bloodline, maybe I'll actually have a shot at becoming the top scorer in the college entrance exams. If I can't surpass those so-called geniuses, even with this kind of head start, then this boost was really underwhelming. He exhaled, calming himself. For now, I need to focus on the next step, heading into a secret realm. In this world, secret realms were categorized into 6 levels: S, A, B, C, D, and E. The higher the level, the more dangerous and the more powerful the monsters inside. In S-level realms, monsters were entirely uncontrollable. If one breached into the real world, the destruction would be catastrophic. Ihei chose to enter a 3rd-level C-rank secret realm located in his city. To his surprise, the area was almost deserted. Perhaps the realm had been explored for too long, and most of its valuable resources had already been claimed, leaving behind only low-tier monsters for new warriors to practice on. At the entrance, he signed a death waiver and received his realm entry ticket. Soon, he arrived at the rift. It was 10 meters tall and 5 meters wide, looking like a sheet of blue-gray fluid, with sparkling white particles dancing within. His heart raced with excitement. This was it, the beginning of my journey to becoming the king of monsters. With that thought, he leaped headfirst into the rift. After a brief moment of weightlessness, he landed safely on solid ground. Looking up, he froze. 3 gigantic planets hung in the sky, glowing with unearthly brilliance. Konglin Star, Anwei Star, and Taiyin Star. They floated close enough to fill the heavens, casting long shadows on the landscape, a scene straight out of a science fiction movie. Ihei stood motionless, awestruck. I've read about the appearance of secret realms in textbooks, but experiencing it firsthand is something else entirely. It was truly spectacular. As the protagonist took in the otherworldly scenery, he noticed something creeping up behind him in the grass. It was a first-tier monster, the saber-toothed rabbit, known for its violent temperament and ability to hover. The moment it leapt, it was as fast as a bullet leaving the chamber, its sharp teeth aimed directly at his jugular. However, with the Emperor Demon Ra's sensory abilities, the protagonist had already detected the rabbit's movements. He swiftly dodged and, using his momentum, grabbed the creature by the head and crushed it with a sickening pop. After its death, the body rapidly carbonized into ash, leaving behind only a thumb-sized white monster core. He picked up the core and thought, white, ordinary quality, worth about 1,000. Not bad. I made 1,000 in just a few minutes. The average person worked an entire month for 3,000 or 4,000. Still, collecting too many first-tier monster cores wouldn't help him grow fast. What he really needed was to find a second-tier monster or higher. No sooner had he thought it than one appeared. A corpse moth suddenly burst out of the ground. The protagonist chuckled to himself. Well, that was quick. He drew his weapon and struck first. He'd studied the monster encyclopedia. While the corpse moth's back was tough like steel, its underbelly was a weak point. His sword strike landed cleanly, and foul-smelling green blood splattered on the ground, leaving a corrosive burn. The moth curled up defensively, its blade-like limbs lashing out. The protagonist responded with mountain fist, his punch slamming into the insect like a cannonball. The monster faltered, but then launched its side-like fangs projectiles. Startled, he narrowly dodged. At his current level, he wasn't strong enough to deal with this monster in normal form. His martial energy and vitality were too shallow, still limited by the poor foundation of the original body. He had no choice. Emperor Demon's wrath activate. Instantly, his skin turned deep blue, sapphire light glowing in his pupils. His arms were wrapped in scaled armor, and monstrous claws emerged from his fingers. Vital energy surged through him, shaking the air. With one motion, he grabbed the corpse moth's head and crushed it like a hydraulic press. Then, with a sweeping motion, he tore the moth open from its soft underside. Now, with a physique at 21 points, the second-tier corpse moth was nothing to him. As his transformation faded, his skin returned to human color and his body steamed with released energy. Looking at the short sword he had just bought, now corroded beyond use, he sighed. 250,000 spent, and it can't even handle a second-tier monster. What kind of junk is this? Suddenly, his stomach growled loudly. The energy output from this first fight was massive, and he hadn't brought any food. But then, he smelled something fragrant. Looking at the green monster core left behind by the corpse moth, he was stunned. The core emitted a tempting aroma, and his body reacted instinctively. He needed to eat it. Without hesitation, the protagonist swallowed it whole. Inside his stomach, the hard crystal melted into a warm liquid and spread throughout his body like a wave of nourishing energy. It felt like he had just injected a gene serum. His cells buzzed with excitement, and more importantly, his compatibility with the Emperor Demon Ra bloodline rose by 0.3%. He was stunned. Just one second-tier core gave a 0.3% boost? I paid over 100,000 for one serum that only gave 1%. These cores are practically treasure. He wiped his mouth and glanced at the white core from the saber-toothed rabbit. That one should also give something, maybe even 0.1%. Realizing this, he nearly cried. I wasted so much money on those damn gene serums. But then he clenched his fists. He wouldn't sulk over spilled serum. He'd turn that frustration into fuel. Tonight, he would hunt like a madman. After a moment of quiet deliberation, the protagonist activated his life magnetism ability, extending his senses to detect the presence and movement of nearby monsters. By noon the next day, he stepped out of the third secret realm, a hefty sack brimming with monster cores slung across his back. As he walked, he thought to himself, once the compatibility reaches 9%, Swallowing more white monster cores won't increase it anymore. So the rest will have to be sold for money. Arriving at the trading post, he unloaded his haul, 20 white monster cores and 4 green ones. The clerk's eyes widened with disbelief. No way a high school student gathered this many monster cores. The clerk muttered, clearly stunned. According to the regulations enforced by the kingdom, warriors were required to turn over 10% of their monster core earnings. Furthermore, to obtain just 1 green core, a warrior had to trade in 5 white ones. Despite the steep system, after handing over his share, the protagonist managed to exchange the rest for nearly 200,000 Summer Kingdom coins. With 9 days remaining until the college entrance exam, he made his way to Insit's 4th D-tier secret realm. There, a warrior team was already assembling. One of the team members remarked, "Captain Lin, this time we should be about done with the Blood Jade Flower bounty mission, right?" The 2nd-tier warrior Lin nodded in response. "Last time we came here, we found the general location of the Blood Jade Flower, but old Chun got hurt, so he won't be joining us this time." 2 other team members voiced their concerns. "We only have 5 people now. The regulations say we need at least 6 to enter a D-tier secret realm." Lin gestured behind him and said, "No worries. I contacted an agency and they introduced us to a new warrior." The protagonist nodded silently. Since he was still a student and barred from directly entering a D-tier secret realm, he had to rely on a black market agency to provide a fake identity. It cost him 100,000 coins just to join the team. What a scam, he thought bitterly. Lenny looked over at him with a puzzled expression. "Patterzilla? That's an odd name." The protagonist responded flatly. "I couldn't use the original name, or I'd risk infringing copyright." Lenny sighed and shrugged. "Well, whatever. It's just a code name. With your martial disciple level 9 status, you don't meet the qualifications to enter a D-tier secret realm. Our team will give you the chance to observe and learn, but make sure you don't hold us back." Seeing Lin's stern expression, the protagonist thought to himself, "At least he's being upfront about responsibilities. That's more trustworthy than someone who'd throw me under the bus mid-mission." With preparations complete, the 6-person team boarded an off-road vehicle and drove straight into the rift of the secret realm. This time, the environment had changed dramatically. They were surrounded by a vast desert. Their bounty mission was to locate a rare plant known as the cow flower, which grew within this specific secret realm. This marked their 2nd venture into this realm. On their previous visit, they had discovered the general location of the Blood Jade Flower, which was guarded by a 2nd-tier monster boasting a champion-level bloodline. As the vehicle barreled across the sand, a long trail of dust curled behind them. Desert winds whipped up frequent sandstorms, obscuring visibility. The protagonist observed the barren landscape and thought, "Last time it was a rainforest. This time it's a desert." It seems that the secret realms aren't tied to a single world. Suddenly, several mole-like monsters emerged from beneath the sand, trailing behind the vehicle as if preparing to strike. Huda, a quiet but precise member of the team, responded instantly. He hurled a series of crystal iron throwing darts, each one landing with pinpoint accuracy. The darts struck the mole monsters directly in the head, the embedded martial energy seeping into their skulls and destroying their brains from within. After a short drive, the vehicle came to a halt near a small desert oasis, believed to be the location of the Blood Jade Flower. Due to the monster's acute sensitivity to sound, the team decided to proceed on foot, leaving the engine behind. As team leader, Lin took command. "Shurao, you'll release the shockwave grenade to draw the monster out. Xiao Wu and Huda set up the traps. Old Lu, you'll provide suppression fire. I'll handle the front line. Patterzilla, you stay back and observe." The protagonist nodded. "No problem." With roles assigned, everyone got to work. Shurao lobbed a shockwave grenade high into the air. It exploded with a deafening boom, releasing a wave of 2nd-tier monster energy into the surrounding area. The signal mimicked the presence of a powerful intruder, triggering territorial instincts in nearby beasts. The ground rumbled. From within the oasis, the earth trembled as if thousands of wild beasts were stampeding. A moment later, a 10-meter-long earth dragon, a 2nd-tier monster, emerged with a thunderous roar, trampling trees as it surged forward. "New guy, watch out. The monster's coming," Huda warned sharply. The team activated the traps. A thick cloud of tranquilizing gas was released, enveloping the Earth Dragon. This special compound, designed specifically for monsters, was potent enough to put a whale to sleep with a single vial. Lin had been waiting for this moment. He leapt into the air, his ton-heavy alloy sword slicing through the wind. With a single powerful strike, he decapitated the Earth Dragon, a torrent of blood spraying across the desert sand. Everyone thought the beast was defeated, until the Earth Dragon's massive paw twitched, slamming toward Lin. Fortunately, the protagonist had been on high alert. He surged forward, unleashing his full mountain fist technique. His punch landed with the force of a cannonball, smashing into the Earth Dragon's side and finally putting the creature down for good. The team stood frozen in shock. A martial disciple-level fighter had just saved a second-tier warrior from death. They were stunned. This display of raw power shattered their initial judgment, and their perception of the protagonist shifted. He was no longer just an inexperienced tag-along. He had earned his place on the team. With the Earth Dragon out of the way, the oasis was now safe. The group pressed forward and soon reached the center of the lake, where the elusive blood jade fruit awaited. This rare treasure only appeared under extremely rare conditions. It was said to cleanse the body and enhance physical potential, making it one of the most sought-after natural resources in the realm. It was almost unheard of in the open market. Just as Lin stepped forward to claim it, Huda suddenly struck, driving a poisoned dagger into Lin's abdomen. "What's going on here?" a team member shouted, stunned by the betrayal. Lin staggered and swung his arm in defense, yelling, "Huda, what the hell are you doing?" But Huda had already stepped back, easily dodging the attack. At that moment, a bald, rugged man emerged from the trees, sneering menacingly. "What's going on? Can't you see? He's obviously found something worth a fortune," the man said smugly. The protagonist's eyes narrowed. He recognized the name. "Hop," Xiao Wu growled. "He specializes in robbing warriors of their loot in secret realms. And now he's set his sights on us." The betrayal was complete. Huda had been working with Hop from the start, and now they were going to have to fight for their lives. Lin Hiai, clutching his bleeding abdomen, glared at Huda and Hop, his eyes filled with pain and rage. His breath came in ragged gasps as he growled, his voice tinged with disbelief. "Huda, you traitor, how did you know about this?" Even my teammates only learned about the blood jade flower after entering the secret realm. At that moment, Ihei spoke up calmly, his voice cutting through the tension. "It was the throwing darts. You left a trail of information on them." Huda sneered. "Who'd have thought? Clever, Patterzilla, but you're still just a student, right? With the exams coming up, why aren't you studying and instead tagging along with these scumbags?" Ihei cracked his neck, the coldness in his voice as sharp as ever. "Yeah, the exams are coming up, and I've got a top spot waiting for me." Hop, furious at Ihei's arrogance, wasted no time. He launched a dart directly at him. Ihei caught it effortlessly, a mocking smirk spreading across his face. "You're barking so loudly like a disgusting fence-sitter," Ihei taunted. "Now that's arrogance so loud, I think it's time to clean up the trash." With a single motion, he crushed Huda's dart in his hand, its sharp edges crumpling under his grip. Hop, observing the scene, turned to Huda with a look of disdain. "This kid's got some guts," he said, his voice low. "Huda, I'll be taking his head." Without hesitation, Huda unleashed a barrage of darts, each one aimed with deadly precision. Ihei's eyes narrowed, the battle intent in him flaring to life like wildfire. He had become all too familiar with the deadly games played in secret realms. Quick as lightning, Ihei dodged the incoming darts, his body twisting and weaving through the air. Huda tried to capitalize on the moment, spinning mid-air and extending a sharp blade from his boots. His legs swung down with terrifying force, aiming to slice Ihei in half. But Ihei was faster. He pressed his finger to his forehead, the air around him crackling with energy. A blue beam shot out, the concentrated atomic breath tearing through Huda's chest and piercing his heart in an instant. As Huda's body crumpled to the ground, lifeless, the battlefield fell silent. Everyone froze for a brief moment, the weight of the kill settling into the air. Hop, both surprised and furious, growled, his voice laced with disbelief. "Who are you? Which powerful family do you come from to use gene techniques like that?" Ihei's cold smile never wavered as he answered. "I'm from the Emperor Demon family. Do you want to beg for mercy?" Hop, sensing the overwhelming killing intent from Ihei, realized the situation was spiraling out of his control. His blood surged, and the pressure of his second-tier warrior bloodline suddenly flooded the area, weighing heavily on everyone around him. The team gasped for air as the atmosphere grew tense. With a surge of power, Hop's body swelled in size, transforming into a monstrous, giant-like figure. His once human form was now a terrifying beast, his bloodline fully activated, his muscles bulging with power. He let out a roar and charged at Ihei, moving like a tank, his massive frame forcing a powerful gust of wind behind him. In the split second that followed, Ihei crouched low and swiftly flipped to the side, narrowly avoiding the charge. He pressed his finger to his forehead again, releasing another blue particle beam, this time targeting Hop's vulnerable ankle. With a scream of pain, Hop staggered back, clutching his injured leg. He roared in fury, his arms coming together in a crushing motion. With all his might, he smashed both hands down toward Ihei, intent on squashing him like an insect. But Ihei, with his swift footwork and quick thinking, dodged the attack effortlessly. He landed gracefully a few meters away, his eyes narrowed with determination. A second-tier warrior really is something else, Ihei thought. My atomic breath couldn't even melt his ankle bones. Hop, now fully enraged, swung his arms like massive wrecking balls, each one closing in on Ihei, attempting to crush him with his enormous hands. The ground shook with each strike. However, Ihei suddenly appeared behind Hop Hong. He unleashed his fists, now charged with intense nuclear radiation, pounding one blow after another into Ho Pang's body. Each punch injected lethal nuclear material into his system. With Ho Pang's second-tier warrior body and bloodline enhancement, he can withstand my punches, Ihei thought. But he definitely can't handle continuous nuclear magic attacks. Soon, Ho Pang's internal organs began to liquefy into pus and blood. Writhing in agony, Hop Hong glared at Ihei with hatred, accusing him of using poisonous gene techniques and cursing him, saying that evil warriors like him would eventually be punished. Ihei scoffed and raised his fist to end Hop Hong's life, thinking to himself, the number of people cursing me will only grow, but what's he really worth? 9 days flew by in the blink of an eye. It was now one of the grandest days in the Summer Kingdom, the day of the National College entrance exams. Before a nationwide live broadcast, the host addressed the candidates. He first wished them success, then explained the rules. The exam was structured as a tournament, held in the Central City Sports Arena. Students would compete in pairs. The winners would advance to the next round. The entire event would last 3 days. The first 2 days were for the preliminaries, and only those who advanced would be eligible to take the final exam on the third day. Each student had to fight 3 matches in the preliminaries. Those who made it to the finals would continue competing until the top scorer was determined. The host reminded the candidates that they carried the future of humanity on their shoulders, urging them to showcase their strength for both themselves and mankind before officially declaring the start of InCity's college entrance exams. As the host's voice faded, the candidates began stepping onto the various arenas. On Arena 6, the match was scheduled between Ihei and Wang Tanong. However, at that moment, Ihei still had not arrived. The host announced that, according to the rules, if Ihei wasn't present when the match began, he would be disqualified. Wang Tanong stood on the arena, smug and satisfied, thinking to herself, "The Gene Conference made me lose face, a shame I'll carry for life. I was planning to humiliate Ihei with my flame lizard, but that pathetic fool is hiding and won't show up. How disappointing." The audience murmured among themselves. How pathetic. He's too scared to even show up for the exams. He's probably hiding at home, trembling. Someone like him shouldn't even be in high school. He should be sweeping the streets. At that moment, the referee blew his whistle and began to declare, "Time's up," in City First High School's Ahey. Before he could finish, the crowd suddenly felt a powerful presence approaching. Everyone looked up, shocked to see a figure in the air. "What kind of immense power allows someone to fly like that?" someone in the crowd whispered. As debates buzzed through the audience, the airborne figure landed on the arena with a tremendous impact, shaking the entire platform. When the dust settled, Wang Tunong stood confused. In the very next moment, a foot slammed into her face. Wang Tunong was kicked off the stage in one clean blow. Ahey watched her fly off the platform and muttered, "That was close. Almost had to come back next year." As Wang Tunong lay unconscious outside the arena, the host loudly announced, "Ahey wins." Ahey scoffed and said, "That's it? This was too easy." The audience erupted in disbelief. Ahey is seriously strong. One kick and his opponent was done. The way he entered was so cool. Is this what they call a kick from the heavens? At that moment, the system display lit up. Ahey's total physique, 226. Compatibility, 20%. Ahey grinned and said, "As a thank you, Captain Lin gave me the blood jade fruit. It took some time to improve my physique, but now you're about to see some real action." After defeating Wang Tunong, Ahey continued his matches. 3 fights, 3 wins. Each opponent was taken down with a single kick, no hesitation. The audience roared. Ahey is like one kick man. As expected, the host announced, Ahey from City First High School, 3 wins in a row, advancing to the 3rd round. Down in the stands, a crowd gathered around Ahey. Some were asking for his contact information, others recommended their schools. A reporter asked, "Ahey, do you have a dream university in mind?" Ahey's eyes lit up. He confidently replied, "Sorry, I'm aiming for Huadu University." Upon hearing this, the crowd around him suddenly scattered. He sighed and said, "What? You don't believe me?" Then, with a chuckle, he muttered, "Can't blame them. Huadu University, the best martial arts college in the Summer Kingdom, and one of the top 5 in the world. It was a holy land for all warriors. For cities like in City, only top scorers could earn entry into such a place." But it's fine, Ahey thought. Martial artists are judged by strength. Once I become the top scorer, we'll see what they say. At that moment, an examiner, having noticed Ahey's overwhelming performance, approached and requested a retest of his martial artist level. After a quick scan, the examiner's face turned pale with shock. Just half a month ago, he was martial disciple level 3, but now, level 9. Upon further investigation, the examiners discovered that Ahey had frequently entered E-tier secret realms after leaving school. They asked him why he had ventured into such dangerous places so close to the college entrance exams. Ahey casually replied, "To settle myself. My father left me a message before he passed. He said that to surpass humanity, you have to stop being human. So I've been going into secret realms, battling and breaking through my genetic locks." The examiner froze at the words "breaking genetic lock." Without another word, he turned and rushed off to report. Meanwhile, Ahey couldn't shake the feeling that he had suddenly become a subject of intense scrutiny. On the day of the tournament, Ahey once again stepped onto the arena. This time, his opponent was Lu Shuren from City's 3rd High. Lu Shuren was a martial disciple level 8, born with the bloodline of a rare 2nd-tier monster. Both of his parents were accomplished warriors. Ahey looked at Lu Shuren with clear boredom and motioned for him to make the first move. Lu Shuren, feeling mocked, couldn't suppress the irritation bubbling inside him. He immediately activated his bloodline and launched his martial skill, Thunderclap Claw. His acceleration was immense, his heartbeat pounding like a supercar engine. As he sprinted forward, his speed increased rapidly. His sharp claws slashed toward Ahey's throat, the finely honed martial technique slicing through the air with sparks and a booming shockwave. If it landed, even a martial disciple level 9 could be fatally injured. But what Lu Shuren didn't expect was Ahey's reaction. Just as the claw approached, Ihei effortlessly caught his arm. "Nice energy, but it's nowhere near that bald guy's charge," Ihei commented casually. Without hesitation, he delivered a devastating palm strike to Lu Shuren's head. The force was overwhelming. Lu Shuren was knocked unconscious on the spot. "Are there no decent contestants?" Ihei scoffed arrogantly. The host quickly announced, "Another victory with one strike, and this time, Ihei defeated the seed player, Luo Shuren." Dozens of high-speed cameras captured every moment, broadcasting the scene from multiple angles. The live audience and viewers online were in shock. Some spectators murmured in awe, saying things like, "Luo Shuren looked so fierce," and in the blink of an eye, he's on the ground. Ihei's strength is on a whole different level compared to the other candidates. In this martial arts-driven era, Ihei's overwhelming power ignited passion and admiration among all who watched. From the stands, Shuha watched as Lu Shuren was carried off the stage by medical staff. His eyes burned with determination, his fists clenching instinctively. "As expected, you're the one I've been rooting for. I'll definitely defeat you in the finals," Shuha thought to himself. Elsewhere, the head of the Huadu University admissions office, having witnessed Ihei's commanding performance, demanded to have all of his information on his desk within half an hour. Shortly after Ihei's match ended, the second group of qualifiers had already begun. This round drew even more attention, not only because of the skill level, but also because both competitors were top-tier beauties with massive fan bases, making it a visual and emotional spectacle. One of them was Kai Shaoling from City Second High. Petite in stature, she had an incredibly alluring figure. Flipping her long golden pigtails, she shot a provocative glare at her opponent, Lu Qingzhu, and said that she hated the robotic expression always worn by the young lady of the Lu family. Lu Qingzhu didn't respond. Instead, she offered a slight bow as a greeting, her face calm and devoid of emotion, as if she hadn't taken Kai Shaoling's taunts seriously in the slightest. The referee blew the whistle to begin the match. With the aura of a martial disciple level 9, Kai Shaoling immediately appeared in front of Lu Qingzhu and launched a sweeping kick toward her neck, intending to slam her to the ground. Yet Lu Qingzhu remained still. With a simple wave of her palms, the air surrounding her thickened, turning viscous like a swamp under the influence of her martial technique. When Kai Shaoling's kick met the air in front of Lu Qingzhu, it felt as though her leg, capable of tearing through military-grade steel, had struck a cloud of cotton. The dense resistance created by Lu Qingzhu's martial technique drastically slowed her momentum. Even the high-speed cameras captured Kai Shaoling's striking leg in visible slow motion. Frustrated by Lu Qingzhu's immovable expression, Kai Shaoling intensified her assault. She enveloped her body in martial energy, reducing drag, and blurred into a shadow, circling Lu Qingzhu, waiting for an opening. As she closed in with a palm aimed at Lu Qingzhu's waist, her attack halted abruptly just 3 inches away. She quickly realized she had walked into a trap. She attempted to withdraw, but a sudden surge of suction held her in place. That was when Lu Qingzhu made her first move. She extended her slender fingers, now glowing with a jade-like luster. Warriors watching the live stream instantly recognized the move, the Hunyuan jade finger from the Shuren Huang martial technique. Seeing a high school candidate master such a revered technique left the audience in disbelief. This level of martial talent alone could guarantee her direct admission to Huadu University. Standing closest, Kai Shaoling could feel the oppressive force radiating from the jade finger. Knowing it was now or never, she unleashed her bloodline ability, Shadow Tiger King. A thunderous shockwave burst from her body, fracturing the air. But Lu Qingzhu did not attempt to block the explosion head-on. Instead, with a soft tap of her foot, she gracefully slid a dozen meters backward, putting distance between them. In the spectators' stands, the examiners watched in stunned silence. The Shadow Tiger King bloodline was notorious for its violent nature and difficulty to control. Seeing it awakened in such a young candidate was extraordinary. However, the activation came with a heavy cost. The immense burden on Kai Shaoling's body was evident as she exhaled sharply, barely managing to speak. She challenged Lu Qingzhu, demanding to see her phantom crow bloodline. Lu Qingzhu, always a woman of few words, responded calmly. "This is enough." Kai Shaoling, now completely enraged, shouted, "Do you think anyone below a warrior can challenge me?" She charged forward like a wild tiger, blood energy forming a whirlwind behind her. Her palms sliced through the air, heading straight for Lu Qingzhu. Yet Lu Qingzhu neutralized the brutal attack with elegance, her hands moving fluidly as though playing an instrument. Invisible threads of martial energy unwound Kai Shaoling's attack, diminishing its force until it vanished entirely. Undeterred, Kai Shaoling gathered her remaining blood energy. Surrounded by shattered threads of martial aura, she leapt into the air and launched another fierce kick. In response, Lu Qingzhu activated the Shuren Huang technique once more, Qinyuan Jade Finger. The glowing jade-tipped finger collided with Kai Shaoling's kick, and their combined power shattered the reinforced arena floor. The arena erupted in a massive cloud of dust. Tens of thousands of spectators held their breath, waiting for the dust to settle and the victor to emerge. Kai Shaoling appeared first. Her body was covered in blood, and after stumbling a few steps, she collapsed from sheer exhaustion. Lu Qingzhu, by contrast, remained standing like a serene, celestial being. Her hair was slightly disheveled, but her composure was untouched. With only martial skills, she had completely dominated Kai Shaoling, a fellow martial disciple level 9 with a king-level bloodline. Lu Qingzhu's astonishing display sent shockwaves through the livestream. Viewers flooded the chat with praise. Some insisted she must be the top scorer of In-City, while others leaked insider information. Lu Qingzhu had awakened the 4th-tier Phantom Crow bloodline, a rare gift that few warriors could match, let alone defeat. After such a spectacular match, the rest of the rounds, though still intense, couldn't quite match the excitement. Eventually, the top 8 contestants were confirmed. From In-City First High, the finalists were Ihei and Lu Qingzhu. Joining them were 3 students from Chuho, 2 from In-City High, and 3 from In-City Qing Fong Private High. As the finals drew near, the top 8 gathered for the lottery draw. Ihei stepped forward first and pulled a lot. A tall, muscular giant standing nearby glanced at his own draw and smirked. "Looks like we're set to face off." His name was Shangguan from Qing Fong Private High. He nodded in acknowledgement and introduced himself politely. Shangguan said they were slotted for the second match. "So, let's watch the first match first." He pointed at the large screen above the arena, his large hands resembling fans. The first match was between Lu Shi from Qing Fong Private High and Chuha from In-City First High. While waiting, Shangguan casually struck up a conversation with Ihei. He remarked that Lu Shi was quite the talent, a repeat student aiming specifically for Huadi University this year. His bloodline awakening had reached an impressive level, and his control was commendable. Yet despite all that, Shangguan believed Lu Shi still stood no chance against Chuha. "Chuha, right? He's from your school, In-City First High. You must know him." At that moment, the host announced the first match of the top 8 qualifiers. Chuho from City First High wins. The principal of Qing Fong Private High clenched his fists in frustration upon hearing the result. "Damn, they lost right at the start." Turning toward his student, he asked, "How does Louis compare to you?" Shangguan grinned confidently. "I'm a martial arts president at Shining Fong Private High, level 3. He added with a shrug, "Honestly, my 2 teammates combined couldn't even match me." Then, he turned to Ihei, his expression turning serious. "But to be honest, I think you're my biggest rival in this exam. I've always had an extremely sensitive sense. I can feel that you're like a dormant volcano with a beast hidden inside you. Let's go. It's our turn." With that, Ihei and Shangguan walked side by side toward the arena. The host's voice boomed across the stadium. The second match of the top 8 qualifiers, Shangguan from Qing Fong Private High versus Ihei from In-City First High. The quarterfinals of the Aning combat trials had reached their most electrifying stage yet, a battlefield where only the strongest would earn a place in elite universities. At the referee's signal, both contestants launched themselves forward. Their fists clashed in midair with thunderous intensity, releasing a shockwave that rippled across the arena, shaking the very air. Blood trickled from Shangguan's nose. He grinned maniacally. Nosebleed. Is it the manifestation of your bloodline power? Fascinating. A golden aura surged around his body, forming a radiant barrier of energy that resisted the surrounding radiation. So, hey, this is the extent of your strength? Ehei didn't respond, but the sharp light in his eyes ignited, signaling a rising storm. Shangguan let out a snort, slamming one foot into the ground. The stage cracked beneath his strength. Then witnessed the legacy of the Shan family, our ancestral art. Form intent fist, antler strike. His fist lunged forward like the horns of a raging stag, precise and deadly. The sheer speed of the blow made it nearly invisible to the naked eye. In a heartbeat, the strike landed on Ehei's chest. Blood sprayed from his mouth as he was hurled backward, crashing near the arena's edge. But Shangguan didn't hesitate. Bare rotation. His massive body twisted, muscles bulging as he hurled himself forward like a collapsing mountain. Ehei crossed his arms just in time to brace for impact. The collision split the arena floor, fragments bursting outward from the shock. In a deceptive feint, Shangguan withdrew his fist and appeared behind Ehei with blinding speed. Seizing his waist, he roared and hurled Ehei into the air like a cannonball. Dropping into a crouch, Shangguan's face contorted into a savage grin. With the grace of a hunting beast, he launched himself skyward, intercepting Ehei midair in a crushing tackle. His form shifted mid-flight, mimicking an eagle dive-bombing from the heavens. The impact created 3 consecutive shockwaves as Ehei slammed into the ground like a falling meteor. Dust billowed from the crater. The audience gasped. Ehei was overwhelmed, pinned down by Shangguan's relentless offensive. Landing confidently, Shangguan crossed his arms and let out a hearty laugh. Now, that was satisfying. Medics on standby prepared to rush in. After enduring that brutal form-intent combo, even a seasoned warrior might not get up again. But suddenly, Shangguan's body stiffened. A chill ran down his spine, as though he were standing before a primeval predator. From within the settling dust, an arm emerged, massive and scaled. Then a figure stepped forward. Transformed, Ehei's body towered, monstrous and awe-inspiring, like a humanoid Godzilla. His voice rumbled low and commanding. You're strong. That's why you get the honor of witnessing this form first. Shangguan's pupil shrank. He stood frozen, overwhelmed by the sight. Beast form manifestation. Your bloodline awakening reached that level. This transformation was no ordinary power-up. It was the manifestation of the ancient beast within, a form only those who had fully awakened their bloodline could achieve. For a moment, Shangguan, a titan in his own right, stood in stunned silence. He had never expected that in a remote city like Aning, another prodigy existed who could rival the elite warriors, perhaps even Lu Qingzhu herself. As Ehei's monstrous form stabilized, a blaring alarm erupted from the energy monitors positioned beside the proctors. These instruments, designed to track the fluctuations of awakened combatants in real time, began to spike uncontrollably. Radiation levels surged to catastrophic heights, completely maxing out the gauges. The proctor's eyes narrowed. In response, they quickly deployed dense energy barriers to contain the overwhelming surge. Gasps echoed through the arena before the crowd erupted with a mix of awe and exhilaration. Did you see that? This is Ehei's awakened form. What kind of bloodline is that? Anyone know? I'm from First Academy. They say his bloodline's classified as unknown. But how can that be unknown? As Ehei stood amidst the murmuring crowd, his gaze swept across the arena. So, this world didn't recognize the Imperial Megalithon. That meant no one here could identify the bloodline he had awakened. Meanwhile, Shangguan's nose began to bleed again. The radiation now exceeded what his energy barrier could withstand. Clenching his fists tightly, he realized he had to end the battle quickly or be overwhelmed. With a guttural roar, Shangguan triggered his own awakening. A blinding aura burst forth from his core, golden arcs of energy streaking through the air like lightning. One of the proctors whispered in astonishment, "That's the Golden Simian King bloodline. A Tier 3 royal strain. What's going on in this city?" The golden radiance surged across Shangguan's entire body. His form expanded, his frame, now standing nearly 3 meters tall, resembling a gilded war god at the heart of the arena. He lunged forward with a devastating punch, his motion fluid and serpentine. This was Serpent Strike, a deadly technique from his inherited martial discipline. Form Intent Fist. Ihei reacted without delay, stepping forward and countering with mountain-breaking fist. Though deceptively simple in form, the force behind the strike was terrifying, like a landslide tearing down a mountain. Their fists collided with a sound like thunder. The air between them detonated into a violent shockwave, pushing spectators back with sheer pressure. Power-wise, Ihei's awakened form had already eclipsed Shangguan's. Shangguan was sent flying backward. Even his golden hide, famed for being able to deflect bullets, began to fracture under the force. Blood leaked from the cracks. Had he not redirected energy at the last second, his entire arm would have shattered. It was the first time Shangguan had ever been overpowered in a direct clash. But he didn't retreat. Roaring defiantly, he charged again. This time, his arms twisted like twin serpents, aiming to coil around Ihei and fling him across the ring. But it was futile. He might as well have tried to lift a mountain. Then, with explosive force, he launched upward, tearing trenches in the ground beneath his feet. Elephant Stomp, another form intent technique. Boom! The shockwave rocked the entire arena. The platform cracked and shattered as though struck by an earthquake. As the dust settled, the entire stadium fell into stunned silence. Amid the devastation, the beastly figure still stood tall, completely unfazed. "Now it's my turn." Ihei's voice was low and composed as he pulled his embedded leg free from the fractured stage. Blue energy rippled across his fist, warping the air around it with extreme heat. The atmosphere itself seemed ready to combust. But just as he prepared to strike, Shangguan dropped to his knees with a heavy thud. "Ihei, I surrender." Mid-step, Ihei froze, visibly confused. Wait, what? The energy he'd been preparing had to be pulled back. According to competition rules, he couldn't launch an attack once an opponent had formally conceded. The dark blue scales coating his body faded away, and Ihei returned to his normal form, the transformation fully undone. The referee stepped forward and raised his hand. Victory goes to Ihei. Meanwhile, the livestream chat was in chaos. In a world where strength dictated everything, a climactic battle had just ended, and ended with a surrender. Ihei had become an overnight sensation. His follower count surged in real time. Highlight clips with titles like "The Monster Who Made His Rival Kneel" and "One Punch to Godhood" spread across social media like wildfire. Comments poured in, "Ihei is this year's #1, no contest." Forget Lu Qingzhu, Ihei's on another level. Back at Qing Fong Private Academy, the principal's expression had darkened. His face twisted with fury as he clenched his fists. Luo Shay failed, and "I invested everything into Shangguan," he muttered angrily. As Shangguan stepped off the stage, the principal snapped, "You surrendered? Do you know how much money we pumped into you? Ungrateful brat. You're not stepping into any university until you pay us back." But before he could finish, Shangguan calmly placed a hand on his shoulder. The touch was light, but the principal suddenly felt an icy chill spread through his body. Shangguan's gaze remained steady, his voice sharp and unwavering. "I couldn't take that last punch. If I had, I would have damaged my foundation. I conceded for my own good. If you think that's cowardice, then why don't you go take that hit?" He stepped in closer. "As for your academy's investment in me, I'll repay it. But don't forget, you can't threaten someone stronger than you." The principal's eyes widened. A cold sweat broke across his forehead. He swallowed hard, his voice trembling. All right, you make a good point. With the second match concluded, the tournament progressed quickly. Of the final four, 3 contestants came from First Academy. Only one remained from Second Academy. But the student from Second Academy had been so thoroughly overshadowed, the crowd had all but forgotten him. Meanwhile, First Academy's headmaster was grinning from ear to ear. The semi-final draw began. Ihei stepped forward first and unfolded his slip. Just as he turned to leave, he sensed a sharp gaze cutting through the crowd. He looked up and locked eyes with a girl whose pupils gleamed like obsidian. Lu Qingzhu. She held a slip in her hand as well, marked with an A. Semifinals Match 1. Ihei versus Lu Qingzhu. Aiming First Academy's ultimate showdown. The stadium erupted. The livestream chat went nuclear. Holy crap, we finally get to see it. Aining's most anticipated clash in entrance exam history. Hey, smash her, bro. No way. Lu Qingzhu is the real deal. She's mastered 2 Shuren Huang tier techniques and demolished a tier 3 royal bloodline candidate. And she hasn't even shown her full bloodline yet. Don't forget, Shangguan was tier 3 royal too. He had to awaken mid-fight to keep up. LZ's got tier 4 blood and top-tier martial mastery. This could be Ihei's toughest fight yet. Agreed. Makes sense. Nah, he's got this. The internet blazed with debate. Who was stronger, Ihei or Lu Qingzhu? But the discussion wouldn't last long. The semifinals of Aining First Academy had officially begun. Ihei versus Lu Qingzhu. The moment the referee gave the signal, a white mist surged around Ihei like a storm. His aura surged violently as he immediately entered his awakened bloodline state. The pressure radiating from him bent the air itself. But Lu Qingzhu remained unfazed. Her martial techniques weren't just powerful, they were elusive, graceful, and difficult to counter. Brute force alone wouldn't be enough to land a blow on her. More than that, she was a brilliant strategist. If the battle dragged on, Ihei knew he'd fall behind. So, he made a decision, go all out from the very beginning. Lu Qingzhu met his fierce gaze with cold indifference. Her voice was calm, unshaken. Ihei, I hope you're strong enough to make me take this seriously. Suddenly, Ihei released a massive amount of steam, covering the arena in a dense fog. The audience was immediately thrown into confusion as visibility dropped to 0. The host's voice echoed through the stadium. The genius of the Lu family, Lu Qingzhu, faces the dark horse of this year's competition, Ihei. How will she respond? Let's wait and see. Could this be Ihei's bloodline awakening? Amid the mist, Ihei kept his eyes locked on Lu Qingzhu's silhouette. He knew better than to be careless. Her martial skills were in another league, and her tactics were unpredictable. If he hesitated even for a second, she'd counter. He couldn't give her that chance. This had to end in one blow. No second chances. A tremendous amount of energy surged into Ihei's right fist as he prepared his signature move, Mountain Blocking Fist. Lu Qingzhu hadn't expected such a direct assault. She quickly crossed her arms and focused her martial energy to defend. But Ihei's speed was unlike anything she'd seen. He moved so fast that afterimages layered the fog in front of her. Then, just as she braced for the punch, Ihei pivoted and swept a powerful kick straight at her side. The audience was in heated discussion. Did he just use a deceptive trick? Lu Qingzhu stood speechless. This guy had clearly claimed he would use his fists, but in reality, he had feinted and struck with the force of a steel whip. At that moment, Ihei shouted, swinging his fist and appearing directly above Lu Qingzhu, his eyes glowing with intense energy. The crowd stirred restlessly, murmuring, "Poor Lu Qingzhu. Despicable Ihei. Using such tricks, has he no martial virtue?" But in martial combat, hesitation was weakness. Strategy was part of the art. Lu Qingzhu had no choice but to cross her arms again to defend. The audience collectively held its breath. Her rhythm had been completely disrupted by that earlier move. Now was no time for mercy. Ihei continued his relentless barrage, one strike after another. giving her no opening to retaliate. To the spectators, it was as though she had become a punching bag. Ehei's pursuit was too intense, his momentum overwhelming. Lu Qingzhu had no chance to escape. But what happened next confused everyone even more. Ehei suddenly used his martial energy to push Lu Qingzhu back. Isn't that giving her a chance to counterattack? Some wondered aloud. But the very next second, a terrifying sight appeared. A claw of the Imperial Magic Beast came crashing toward Lu Qingzhu. He wasn't careless. Far from it. He had baited her. A wind blade sliced through the air with immense force, aimed straight at her. There was no mercy in that strike. Lu Qingzhu's eyes widened in alarm. The attack carried a palm strike infused with devastating martial energy. She swiftly leapt into the air, her movements graceful and light, like an angel in flight. Then came a loud crash. The beastly claws collided violently with her defensive barrier. Ehei appeared above her once again, this time with a wicked grin. His hands were swirling with a crushing aura of energy. "Lu, don't run away." A storm of attacks followed, fierce, merciless, torrential. Lu Qingzhu was beginning to question everything. How was he not tired from such high-intensity offense? His stamina was monstrous. She couldn't help but feel a tinge of envy. She had trained in 2 elite techniques from the Shun Luo martial arts, a defensive secret art of the Lu family, illusory shadow of floating flowers, an offensive technique, mixed Yuan Jade Finger. If she could just get an opening to use either one, she might break free from this overwhelming pressure. But Ehei gave her no chance. Not a single pause. If this continued, she would be knocked off the stage. Realizing she had no way out, Lu Qingzhu finally stopped holding back. Suddenly, a feather appeared on her clenched fist. Ehei's eyes narrowed sharply. "Finally going to use your trump card?" A long cry echoed across the arena, the sound of a bloodline awakening. From Lu Qingzhu's form rose the silhouette of a humanoid bird, its purple wings spread wide, feathers drifting down like stardust. The Netherworld Sparrow. She had revealed her magical beast bloodline for the first time. "Hey, you better be careful," she warned, her tone shifting. "I can't control my power in this form." Ehei grinned. This was what he'd been waiting for. He didn't want to accidentally injure her too badly before she could unleash her full strength. Until now, he had only used 50% of his power. Now, he was ready to go all out. But before he could act, Lu Qingzhu vanished. She reappeared behind him, mixed Yuan Jade Finger glowing with martial energy, now fused with her bloodline state. Ehei wasn't going to be outdone. The bloodline of the Imperial Magic Beast stirred violently within him. Roaring, he launched his atomic explosion fist. A thunderous boom shattered the air. The explosion tore through the arena, a massive shockwave detonating behind them. The crowd gasped. So strong. So intense. I can't even open my eyes. Lu Qingzhu gasped as well. Her eyes widened. A bead of cold sweat slid down her cheek. Both fighters appeared unharmed, but behind Ehei, streaks of electricity still arced through the air, and the ground beneath him was cracked like a spider's web. Ehei's body began to transform. Dark blue scales slowly crept across his face, and his mouth brimmed with terrifying energy. Lu Qingzhu felt an overwhelming sense of danger. What's happening? She thought. His beast form was activating. The spine along his back rose, gathering a colossal amount of energy. The glowing aura slowly transferred toward his mouth. Every vertebra along his back lit up with blue light. Then he roared. A searing beam of atomic energy burst forth, radiating sheer destruction. Lu Qingzhu's instincts kicked in. She immediately folded her wings and wrapped them tightly around her body. The beam engulfed her entirely in the next moment. She had no choice but to activate her own bloodline's ultimate defense. The power of the Nether Phoenix awakened in a desperate, life-or-death response. Countless black feathers shimmered, refracting and reflecting the light like crystal mirrors. The concentrated beam of atomic energy hit her wing cocoon, but the feathers broke it into smaller beams. The refracted lights scattered outward like shooting stars. The arena was about to be annihilated. The examiners sprang into action, but they were too late. Just as the beams were about to escape the ring, a golden radiance blanketed the arena. Every beam vanished the instant it touched the golden martial energy. Absorbed, gone without a trace. A single figure stood at the center of that golden light. Aining's mayor, Hong Qing. The examiners rushed to greet him, but he raised his hand to stop them. "Watch closely," he said quietly. "Today, the strongest top student in Aining's history will be born." 15 seconds passed. The atomic exhale ended. Lu Qingzhu spat out a mouthful of blood. Her twin purple-black wings, after reflecting the full power of the atomic breath, were scorched, melted, and in tatters. Had she not used floating Hua transformation in time to redirect some of the energy, she might not have survived. Since birth, Lu Qingzhu had shouldered the crushing expectations of the Lu family. She fought not for glory, but for obligation. While others praised her genius and strength, she felt no pride in it. She didn't even know why she fought anymore. It all felt meaningless. She simply followed her mother's wishes, marching forward, silently and alone. He is truly strong, she thought. Losing to such a powerful opponent was nothing to be ashamed of. She had made her mistake. It was time to face it. "Hey, you should seize this moment. Finish me off," she thought calmly. She gently tapped the ground with her foot, then struck him with a palm. But He didn't dodge. He made no move at all. He stood still and took the hit head-on. Lu Qingzhu's beautiful eyes widened in confusion. Why isn't he dodging? He raised an eyebrow and looked at her intently. "Lu Qingzhu, what happened to your fighting spirit? From the start of the fight, I could tell you weren't fully invested. Have you even taken me seriously? I intend to win this fairly, so give me your full attention." With that, He swung his arm, sending a gust of wind straight at Lu Qingzhu's face. The force of the punch struck her head-on, knocking her backward through the air. Without hesitation, he closed in, landing directly on top of her, fists raining down in a savage flurry. He hammered at her face with relentless blows. Lu Qingzhu raised her arms to shield her head, her appearance completely disheveled. She thought bitterly to herself. She had never been treated like this before. Now, in front of hundreds of thousands of live viewers, she was pinned to the ground, being violently beaten. She had planned to yield the match to him. So why? Why was he still going after her with everything he had? "Don't hit my face, you bastard!" she screamed, eyes flaring red with fury. A powerful burst of energy erupted from her body, launching He away. But his eyes gleamed with burning battle intent, satisfied. If you don't want to get hit in the face, then fight seriously. Ashes swirled through the air as a pair of giant violet-black wings burst out from Lu Qingzhu's back, generating a fierce windstorm. Her delicate face became marked with strange, otherworldly patterns, and a golden yellow, robe-like tail feather extended from her back. The power of her chirp soared echoed across the battlefield as she entered her beast form. Once transformed, Lu Qingzhu radiated a cold and confident presence. "Hey, as you wished, I will defeat you with my strongest form." A massive surge of wind exploded from her wings as they expanded midair, creating a tempest. Mysterious markings bloomed across her flawless face, while her regal tail feathers fluttered behind her like the train of a royal cloak. From deep within, a piercing avian cry erupted, echoing across the battlefield. He grinned, finally showing your beast form. Now this is getting fun. Not to be outdone, he activated his full power. Blue energy surged around him, wrapping his entire body in radiant nuclear force. Each weapon at his disposal pulsed with atomic energy, transforming him into a walking nuclear furnace. This was his fusion technique, nuclear radiance mode, a combination of his hardened martial arts and the Godzilla battle template. With a thunderous blast, the ground beneath him erupted. He launched himself like a missile straight toward Lu Qingzhu. "Let's make this a real fight." Lu Qingzhu remained calm. Her wings snapped open, drawing in massive currents of air. She summoned a funnel-shaped storm laced with ghostly energy, capable of devouring everything in its path. The entire arena trembled as the spiraling hurricane roared toward Ahei. He didn't flinch. With unwavering resolve, he dove straight into the spectral storm like a torpedo. The moment he entered, a violent detonation burst outward. Blue atomic light tore through the ghostly vortex in an instant. He surged forward, unstoppable, headed straight for Lu Qingzhu. Her expression shifted. The strange patterns across her face darkened into a deep crimson purple. She released a shrill, piercing cry, activating her bloodline ability, Spectral Aven Howl. The sound distorted the air itself, warping the battlefield. The shockwave spread violently across the arena. Ahei was instantly engulfed by the blast. His atomic armor flickered dangerously, nearly dissipated by the deathly frequency. If not for his high-tier, Godzilla-based lineage, the sound might have ripped him apart from within. But Ahei roared defiantly. "You think you're the only one who can scream?" The vertebrae along his back lit up one by one, charging with atomic energy. Power surged through him as he activated his ultimate move, Atomic Breath, full output mode. Determination surged in Lu Qingzhu's eyes. She abandoned defense, focusing every last drop of strength into a final, all-out attack. She refused to lose. This battle would have a winner. She unleashed her most powerful move, Jade Core Strike, now fused with her bloodline's secret technique, Spectral Blood Lance. A towering column of blue atomic energy roared toward her, like a divine judgment from the heavens. At the same time, she pointed her glowing jade fingertip forward. Crimson-purple destructive energy condensed at its tip. Her wings beat furiously behind her as she slashed forward, cutting directly into the oncoming atomic beam. The two ultimate forces collided midair, unleashing a cataclysmic explosion. Waves of pure energy surged outward, shaking the very sky above the arena. The host screamed in panic. "This isn't good. That kind of power, it's way beyond what two junior fighters can control." Outside the arena, the mayor of Aining's expression turned grim. He moved instantly. Either of these prodigies being seriously injured would be a major loss, not just for Aining, but for the entire Federation. "Gauntry Earth Pulse Barrier," he bellowed. The ground trembled. Three massive stone walls infused with his martial energy erupted from the earth, slamming down between the colliding forces of Ahei and Lu Qingzhu. But just moments later, those reinforced barriers were annihilated. A blinding white light engulfed the entire arena. The crowd broke into chaos. That explosion was insane. Wasn't that the mayor's wall just now? Yeah, Mayor Ma tried to stop it. If he hadn't stepped in, we might have all been caught in the blast too. The mayor stood at the edge of the smoke-choked arena, his face grim. He had reacted swiftly, deploying 3 Earth Pulse walls to blunt the force of the impact. But he hadn't had enough time. The walls were still forming when they were torn apart, unable to stop the full brunt of the collision. Who could have predicted that this year's entrance trials would produce not one, but 2 freakishly powerful candidates? If either of them were seriously injured, resignation wouldn't even begin to make up for it. In this land, a martial prodigy commanded more devotion from the public than any celebrity ever could. At the center of the arena, Lu Qingzhu was gravely injured once again. Blood streamed down her arm as she dropped to one knee, the other arm badly scorched. Her once proud form now looked battered and broken. The power of her beast form had completely faded, but she refused to give up. She could still fight. That's when he stepped in front of her. Ahei stood tall, completely unharmed. Not a single scratch marred his body. The contrast was brutal. Lu Qingzhu trembled. She knew her final blow had landed. So why did he look like he hadn't felt a thing? He looked down at her and said casually, "If you don't get that nuclear radiation out of your system soon, you're done for." Lu Qingzhu froze, a choked sound rising from her throat, close to tears. The injustice of it all was overwhelming. "I never wanted to fight you this hard. Why did you keep pushing me? This is bullying." He knelt down, meeting her gaze. Do you really hate fighting? Or are you just too stubborn to admit you wanted to win? I could feel it in that last desperate attack. You were hungry for victory. Lu Qingzhu couldn't argue. He was right. In that final moment, she had wanted to win. That desire had driven her to let her guard down and go all in. But what was happening to her? She had always hated fighting. She wanted to lose quickly, didn't she? And yet, during that final clash, she had felt something else. Something raw. Something exhilarating. The rush of fighting, not for anyone else, but just for herself. Ihei gently placed a hand on her shoulder. You lost because your mind was too clouded during the fight. Without hesitation, he absorbed the lingering nuclear radiation from her body. Lu Qingzhu looked down. The radiation and the wounds on her arm were healing rapidly. Then Ihei looked her in the eyes and said earnestly, "Even so, you're still the strongest opponent I've ever faced. If there's ever another chance, I'd love to fight you again." No distractions, just a pure battle, Lu Qingzhu. Her cheeks flushed red at his words. Just then, the smoke over the arena finally cleared. Every camera zoomed in on the center stage. The host's voice shouted with excitement. It's official. The first semi-final match is over. Ihei of Aning First High takes the win. Shortly after, Chuho claimed victory in his own match. The final showdown of the trials, the champions' duel, was about to begin. The host's voice boomed. The final battle is set. Ihei of Aning First High versus Chuho, also of Aning First High. The livestream viewership surged, nearing 500 million. The grand finale of the Aning tournament was underway as the referee gave the signal. Chuho stood ready, pressing his palms together. A chilling long sword slowly formed in his hands, forged from pure bloodline power, cryoblade manifestation. Ihei grinned. Come at me. He had just defeated the mighty Lu Qingzhu, but he knew better than to let his guard down now. After all, Chuho's battle intellect might be the highest among all the candidates this year. Chuho's eyes sharpened. He stepped forward, activating the 7-star movement. His body blurred into a series of afterimages, and in the blink of an eye, he closed the distance. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Hundreds of icy blades flew toward Ihei from every direction, sealing off all possible escape routes. But Ihei remained unfazed, calmly tracking the real Chuho. Nah, smashing everything in sight sounds way more satisfying. He clenched his fist, muscles coiling like steel cables as eerie blue energy surged down his arm. Atomic detonation fist, fully charged. With a single punch, the ground shook. A shockwave of pure atomic force erupted outward, engulfing a 10-meter radius in blistering nuclear energy. Chuho was forced to retreat, his mind racing. This guy didn't even try to find the real me. He just blasted everything head-on with overwhelming power. With his current level of defense, Chuho knew he couldn't take that hit directly. Honestly, was there anyone their age who could trade punches with Ihei and walk away? Just look at what happened to Shan Wuan. But Chuho wasn't the type to back down. If close combat wouldn't work, he'd wear Ihei down from afar. His bloodline surged, Frostworm awakening. Crystalline dragon scales bloomed across his body. His pupils turned into golden slits, and twin obsidian horns rose from his head. Behind him, a massive frostworm took shape, its spectral wings stretching wide. His ice pulse erupted. Frozen winds howled across the arena, forming colossal ice spikes that merged into a towering tidal wave of frost, crashing toward Ihei. The audience went wild. That's insane. He just summoned a whole mountain of ice out of nowhere. That frostworm bloodline is god tier. He looks amazing. Take down the evil overlord, Ihei. Go get him, Ice Brother. In that moment, Ihei was completely encased in the mountain of ice forged by Chuho's bloodline. But Chuho didn't relax. He knew better. He wasn't naive enough to think the battle was over. His breathing grew heavier. Unleashing that level of frostworm power had taken a toll on his stamina. Suddenly, the crowd gasped. Look, the ice mountain, it's melting. In the next instant, A brilliant pillar of blue energy burst from deep within the ice, shooting straight toward Chuho. Caught off guard by the sudden counterattack, Chuho reacted instinctively. He summoned an ice pillar beneath him, launching himself out of the beam's path. Boom! The atomic beam slammed into the examiner's joint energy shield, sending ripples across its surface. The towering ice mountain melted rapidly, collapsing under the searing heat. From within the dissolving glacier, a deep blue figure emerged. Streams of melted ice never even touched his body. They evaporated instantly from the heat he radiated. Ehei had returned, fully awakened, in his Godzilla state. Shujo exhaled slowly, a bitter edge sharpening his gaze. The gap in their strength was simply overwhelming. He said firmly, take this. My final move. This is my absolute limit in martial arts. I was originally saving it for Liu Qingzhu. In the very next moment, a massive great sword of ice materialized in Chuho's hands, a clear sign that his bloodline power had fully awakened. The blade radiated a chilling aura, infused with a will that cuts straight to the soul cleaving sword intent. The first to react was the mayor of Aining, his expression as stunned as when Liu Qingzhu had used a Shuren Wang technique. Sword intent. At his age, that's unreal. Without hesitation, Chuho swung the sword with all his strength. Drip drip, a few drops of hot blood splattered onto the ground. Ehei had raised his arm just in time to block the strike, but a deep gash sliced down to the bone. Still, the wound shimmered with blue light. The flesh writhed and began to regenerate. Maybe if you had a better sword, you'd have stood a chance. Shujo's eyes opened wide in stunned disbelief. He looked down at his broken sword and knew he had lost. How much of a chance did I really have? He asked, almost to himself. Ehei smirked. A little better than the chances of a S actually getting the girl. Chuho gave a helpless shrug and raised his hand toward the referee. I surrender. Victory in the Aining finals. Ehei stood as the champion. Let's go, brother. I knew you were built different. Chuho was strong, but next to Ehei, no contest. The live stream chat exploded. Ehei had gone from underdog to legend. This was the ultimate dark horse arc. At that moment, Ehei's face flooded every media outlet across the city. Word spread fast. Last year, he was dead last in his class. This year, he crushed the top-ranked student and claimed the championship. Talk about a comeback story. And this year's exam, far more intense than any before. To rise above it all, Ehei might just be the strongest martial champion in history, maybe even ever. Outside the stadium, the crowd roared like a tidal wave, echoing across the city and the millions watching via live stream. Everyone had witnessed the end of a grueling 3-day war. The champion of Aining's 24th martial entrance trials had finally emerged. A reporter approached. Ehei from First High, rumor has it you came from behind, rising through the ranks late. Now that you've claimed the top spot, is there anything you'd like to say? Ehei stepped forward, voice steady. First, I want to thank my teacher. When I was at my lowest, he didn't give up on me. His encouragement gave me the will to fight. Back in front of the live stream, Ehei's homeroom teacher wiped away tears, overwhelmed with guilt. How had he overlooked this monstrous talent until just before the exam? He didn't feel worthy of the praise. And next, I'd like to, suddenly, in the front row of the audience, the school principal began waving wildly at Ehei. He held both hands in the air, flashing a big 2-0 gesture. 2 million, Ehei. Promote our school a bit, and I'll give you 2 million in scholarship money. Ehei's eyes instantly lit up like dollar signs. I'd also like to thank my alma mater and our brilliant principal. Without his wise leadership, how could Aining First High have achieved such greatness? And finally, I want to thank myself. He said it with complete sincerity. Without my hard work, relentless dedication, and unmatched intelligence, none of this would have been possible. He said it with a straight face. Absolutely no shame. Just then, the familiar system interface popped up. Frown Ace. Congratulations, host. You have earned the title, Top Scholar Reward. 1 random template ability draw unlocked. Wait, Top Scholar is an actual title? He blinked, then grinned. So the template has an achievement system, too. That's a sweet surprise. Meanwhile, in the stadium hallway, a swarm of reporters had already cornered Ahei. Cameras and microphones closed in from all sides. Ahei, was there a lot of pressure winning this year's championship? How did you manage such rapid growth in just 6 months? Will you be applying to Capital Star University? Ahei raised his hands in surrender, exasperated. Please stop chasing me. I really need to pee. But one sleazy-looking guy shoved a phone in his face, smirking. Quick question. Between Lu Qingzhu and Kai Shaoling, who's prettier? Or are you more into Xingwen? Or maybe Chuho? Nope. I'm out. Ahei bolted like a rocket. He had no time for weird fan service interviews. After finally shaking off the media mob, he ducked into the empty basketball court, finally catching his breath. His eyes lit up with excitement. So the template isn't a one-and-done deal. I can unlock more through the system. This is insane. I'm loving it. Just then, a calm voice sounded behind him. Hey, congratulations on becoming the top scholar. He jolted in surprise, spinning around. Thinking another reporter had found him, the man took off his hat and smiled. Relax. I'm not with the media. I'm from Capital Star. Let's talk about something a bit more classified like the Gonlock. Ahei froze. Gonlock. He hadn't unlocked any so-called Gonlock. All his powers came from monster templates. Could this guy know his secret? Who was he? From what little memory he had of the original host, that term had only ever come up once from his supposedly ordinary father. The man pulled a file from his bag and smirked. Tell me, aren't you curious? Your father, a regular taxi driver. How would someone like him even know about something like a Gonlock? Ahei raised an eyebrow. Wait, could my old man actually be some kind of hidden expert? The man handed him the file. Due to your unique status, Capital Star has authorized the release of a restricted document. Ahei opened it and his eyes widened as he read. Project Prometheus, once a dominant force in Blue Star's biological gene research. After a classified incident, the institute was blacklisted by multiple nations. Its key researchers went underground, erasing their identities. The Gonlock was among their most ambitious experiments. He slowly closed the file, realization hitting him hard. So you guys think my regular old cab-driving dad was actually a senior researcher of Prometheus? And me? I'm one of their secret experiments. He paused. Please don't worry, the man in the trench coat said gently. The government isn't here to threaten you. I'm just here to inform you. After all, as the subject involved, you have the right to know the truth. He clearly feared Ahei might panic and do something reckless. You're now part of a national-level cultivation program. Your safety is our top priority from here on out. Ahei stared at him. Deadpan. Bro, I'm probably calmer than you right now. Seriously. Then his face changed in an instant, switching to smug mode. Fame is such a pain. So much attention. So many questions. Society really is all about status, huh? The man blinked silently, then turned and walked away without another word. As soon as he left, Ahei rubbed his hands together, eyes sparkling. Finally, he's gone. This exam run was a jackpot. Top university offer $2 million in scholarship money, another $800K bonus, and most importantly, new template draw. Here I come. He wasted no time summoning the system interface and hitting draw. Sure, he knew legendary tier templates like Godzilla were rare, but he couldn't help hoping for another miracle. A swirling black vortex appeared on the screen, filled with monstrous growls and echoing roars like a cursed vault full of ancient beasts. Ahei stared in awe, slack-jawed. A moment later, the result appeared. D-Class Template Colossus Type, Humanoid Bloodline Abilities, Size Increase up to 60 meters, High-Pressure Steam Emission Evolutionary Path. Protogenii Hybrid Compatibility, 1%. Ahei's eyes gleamed brighter by the second. So template abilities can stack. If I combine the Colossus type humanoid with the Berserker Emperor Mothra, wouldn't that make me the true king of monsters? Meanwhile, inside a quiet villa, Brother Hong, are you saying you're turning down all your missions? That's right. Cancel everything on my schedule. He hung up the call. The only sound left in the room was the faint audio from a TV broadcast. Wang took a deep breath. His younger brother, Hua Pong, had been missing for over half a month. The search team sent into the Mystic Zone returned empty-handed. Not even a corpse. As an experienced hunter of forbidden realms, Hong didn't need confirmation. His brother was dead. Worse, the scene had been cleaned. No trace, no mistake. Still, the rescue team didn't come back empty-handed. At the last known location, they recovered samples and testing revealed traces of nuclear radiation. Hong's eye stayed locked on the TV screen. It was replaying footage from the Aining Marshall Finals. The image froze on Ahei, unleashing a blinding blue beam of atomic breath. "Little brother," he murmured, "I told you to stay out of the underground, to quit that life. Why didn't you listen before Mom passed? She made me promise I'd look after you. Now I can't even find your body." His eyes closed, weighed down with sorrow and guilt. Then the TV announcer declared, "Final winner, Ahei of First High." Hong opened his eyes slowly, bloodshot but deadly calm. Ahei, a rare genius no doubt. Capital Star University will surely come calling. But too bad they won't get the chance to see you enroll today. Ahei was planning to head into a Mystic Zone to test his new theory, combining the Godzilla template with the Colossus-type template in actual combat. But just as he was getting ready, he received an unexpected letter from Chuho. The contents read, "Ahei, according to the Capital Research Institute, a new Mystic Rift is projected to open today at 3 p.m. in Red Tree Mountain on the outskirts of Aining. The estimated danger level is C-Class. I intend to investigate. Would you like to team up?" Chuho Ahei's first reaction wasn't about the Mystic Zone. No, he was shocked. Chuho still sent handwritten letters in 2024? Paired with his swordsman cosplay and archaic way of speaking, he was starting to seriously wonder if this guy was another transmigrator too. By 3 p.m., the once deserted Red Tree Mountain had become packed. Over 1,000 fighters arrived, including elite warriors and high-tier organizations. At the base of the mountain, Ahei met up with Chuho, who now had a sword hanging from his waist. Ahei had grown stronger. He was surprised at how sharp Chuho's senses were. After all, Chuho had used some of his prize money to buy several gene serums, pushing his Colossus template compatibility to 35%. Sure, it was just a D-class monster, but it grew fast and worked fast. Definitely worth it. While waiting for the rift to open, the two chatted casually. "So, Chuho, what university are you aiming for?" "Capital Star University." There was something off in Chuho's tone when he said it. Ahei noticed, but didn't pry. He simply smiled and replied, "Guess that makes us future classmates." Just then, the crowd around them erupted. "The Mystic Rift is opening." A piercing screech echoed from the rift. The next second, a monstrous bird with 3 twisted heads and pitch-black feathers forced its way halfway out of the portal. This was clearly a high-tier beast. It had muscled its way to the front and become the first creature to emerge from the rift. But unfortunately for it, what waited outside wasn't prey. It was over 1,000 armed warriors, locked and loaded. "Kill!" The mountains roared with the sound of unified battle cries. No one hesitated. The fighters surged toward the monster like a tidal wave, not caring one bit that it was still awkwardly stuck in the portal. The 3-headed bird thrashed in panic, each head flailing as it tried to retreat, but it was stuck. Within seconds, its massive body was trampled and crushed beneath a stampede of blades, boots, and battle cries. As they say, the early bird gets the beatdown. Ahei and Chuho, blending into the crowd, passed through the rift right behind the wave of warriors. On the other side, they were greeted by a jaw-dropping sight. A forest of colossal trees, each over 100 meters tall, towering like skyscrapers piercing the sky. Suddenly, a thick metallic stench of blood flooded Ahei's nostrils. He looked ahead. The entrance of the rift had already become a battlefield, with a mini beast tide crashing into the arriving warriors. Screams, roars, and the clash of steel filled the air, merging into a brutal, chaotic symphony of war. He quickly realized the warriors weren't just here to loot the Mystic Zone. They were holding the front line for a reason. According to the Bluest Star Defense Act, all licensed martial artists have both the freedom to explore mystic zones and the duty to protect the real world from beast tides. Anyone who ignores that duty and lets a tide slip into the outside world, causing civilian casualties, will be stripped of their warrior status and tried in military court. For a warrior, the greater the power, the heavier the responsibility. Ihei and Chuho joined the front line, pushing back against the oncoming beast tide. Chuho activated his bloodline, unleashing waves of icy energy that froze the beast's legs in place, locking down the path ahead. Suddenly, a beast lunged at him from behind. In a split second, he launched his atomic detonation fist, blowing the ambusher into mist and melted flesh. "Watch your back," he said, completely unfazed. Then, almost lazily, he added, "These Mystic Zone beasts, not a single one can put up a decent fight." Behind him lay a field of smoldering corpses. Chuho was stunned. He'd been carefully holding the line, and he had already wiped out an entire section of monsters. The creatures he killed weren't just burned. They were dissolved, as if every cell in their body had been disintegrated from within. That was the terror of atomic radiation, silent, invisible, and absolutely devastating. And now, for the first time in the open battlefield, Ihei, the walking nuclear disaster zone, could unleash his power freely. Roar, screamed beasts howled as they charged at him, only to melt into puddles of gore a few meters away, cooked alive by the sheer heat radiating from his body. On another part of the battlefield, warriors locked in desperate melee turned their heads, only to see that the fighters behind them were already relaxing and wiping sweat. Yo, what the hell? They done already? Did they bring in some high-tier MC? Nope. That's the top score from Aining's entrance exams. The what? Wasn't he just a trainee? How's a kid soloing entire waves of monsters? You didn't watch this year's entrance exam broadcast? Nah. Who wants to watch high schoolers fight? Idiot. That high schooler could mop the floor with 10 of you. As the battle dragged on, exhaustion began to show on the warriors' faces. Then someone shouted, "Drive the beast toward the top scorer." And just like that, the battlefield adapted. Everyone instinctively pivoted, using Ihei's nuclear radiation field as a natural kill zone against the monster tide. No one knew how long the fighting had lasted, but then, boom, a signal flare burst in the sky. Eyes that had gone dull with fatigue suddenly lit up. Decapitation confirmed. The alpha beast is down. We did it. The tide is breaking. Monsters are retreating. Don't let up. Finish them off. Chuho finally exhaled, relief washing over him. The first wave of Red Tree Mountain's beast tide was over. Of the 1,000+ warriors who had entered, only about 800 remained. Ihei strolled over casually, lugging several massive sacks behind him. His chill attitude stood out like a sore thumb amid the blood-soaked survivors. Phew. Hey Chu, real talk. I'm running out of hands here. How am I supposed to carry all this loot? With a thud, he dropped several bulging sacks of monster cores in front of him. Chuho silently handed over a silver-black ring. My spatial ring. Use it. Wah. Nice. A space ring. Those go for tens of millions on the market. He eagerly stuffed the bags inside. I knew you were secretly loaded. Wuen's back. Thank the heavens. If he hadn't taken out the elite beast, we would have all died out there. The crowd parted automatically as a tall, broad-shouldered man strode forward, righteous energy radiating from him like a wall. Ihei quickly realized this guy was heading straight for him. "Hello there, Aining's top scholar," the man said with a warm smile. "Name's Wu Sun, regional commander of the Silver Wolf Mercenary Corps. I've heard what you did out there today. Outstanding work. Now tell me, would you be interested in joining our corps? It won't interfere with your university plans. In fact, you'll receive tons of benefits, gear access, and support. For someone like you, I'm ready to offer an S-rank member contract on the spot." Wu's offer immediately drew gasps from the surrounding warriors. The Silver Wolf Corps, a nationally renowned mercenary group, and their regional commander personally recruiting Ihei, that was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Becoming a warrior was an expensive path. Without faction support, few could go far. Even elite students from Capital Star University rarely received such treatment under an S-rank contract. Just then, a dazzling striped tiger stepped out from the crowd. On its back sat a striking woman with a bold, commanding presence. "So that's why you rushed ahead, Wu-sun," she teased, trying to steal the prize before the rest arrived. She turned to Ahei. "How about joining the Chengda Corps instead? We may be smaller than Silver Wolf, but if you join us, I'll personally guarantee you'll receive 15% of our monthly cultivation resources. No strings attached." A gasp echoed. That was an offer, basically giving him a stake in the guild. A high schooler, and they were throwing elite-tier contracts at him. Ahei, however, simply smiled and shook his head. "Thanks, but for now, I'm not planning to join any corps." The woman chuckled, unfazed. "Just as I thought, landing the top scorer was never going to be easy. No worries. Consider this our introduction. If you ever need anything, the Silver Wolf Corps is only a call away. The Chengda Corps, too," she added with a wink. "We'll be ready." With the beast tide finally over, the warriors entered the free exploration phase. Chuho offered a suggestion. "This is a giant forest. The layout's tricky. Let's climb to the canopy and scout the terrain first before heading deeper." Ahei gave a firm nod. That was his plan too. Without wasting a second, he activated his nuclear radiance mode. Atomic energy gathered at his feet, then exploded upward, launching him into the air like a human rocket. He soared straight toward the treetops, blazing a trail of light behind him. Moments later, he and Chuho stood atop a colossal tree, hundreds of meters high. From up there, the entire mystic zone stretched out beneath them like a living map. Then Ahei froze, his eyes narrowing sharply. "Wait, what is that?" His voice was low, stunned. Far off in the distance, near the base of a towering mountain range, massive humanoid figures trudged slowly across the land. They moved like ancient titans, and even from hundreds of kilometers away, their forms were unmistakable. "Those things have to be what? A kilometer tall," he murmured. "That's beyond insane." Chuo opened his mouth to reply, but Ahei beat him to it. His voice was calm, but burned with determination. "Unimaginable. Nah, we're still young. Give it a few more years, and we might be the ones hunting them. Maybe even uncovering the truth behind this whole mystic zone thing." Chuo turned toward him, eyes wide, caught between awe and disbelief. For him, the unknown stirred fear, but for Ahei, it ignited a fire to conquer. And in that instant, Chuho understood. Ahei wasn't just stronger physically, he had the heart of a true warrior. Ahei, on the other hand, could barely hold back a grin. His entire body buzzed with anticipation. "Just you wait, you walking mountains. One day, all your monster cores will be mine." Suddenly, his life field sensor activated, pulsing quietly. A web of living signatures filled his vision, each one a blip across the mystic zone, except for one. There, to the southeast, was a massive lake region. And a complete blank. No movement, no life signs, just void. "That's suspicious," he muttered, eyes gleaming with curiosity. "The stranger the waters, the bigger the fish. That's where the real loot is." He turned to Chuho with that same fiery grin. "Let's go. Time to gamble big at the lake." They sprinted across the treetop canopy and dove into the giant forest below, cutting through vines and mist until they reached the edge of a vast, eerie lake. But they weren't alone. 3 figures stood by the shore. One of them turned, and Ahei immediately recognized her. "Rainy," he called out, pleasantly surprised. The reply came with a teasing smile. Well, if it isn't Aining's little champion," Huang Yuli said, crossing her arms casually. Another of her teammates perked up, clearly amused. "Wait, you know our local top scorer?" he asked, grinning. "Come on, introduce us already." We heard he was tearing through beast tides like a walking warhead. Ahei ignored the praise and got straight to business. "Rainy, how long have you guys been here?" "Not long. We just arrived. 2 of our teammates, good swimmers, went underwater to scout things out." Just as she finished, the water erupted, and one of her teammates burst to the surface, shouting at the top of his lungs. "Jackpot! Guys, we just hit the mother lode." Yu Yong shouted, water streaming off him. Whoa, slow down. What kind of jackpot? There's a ruin down there. A real one. We're gonna make it big. Excited, he nudged Chuho with an elbow. Why is everyone so hyped over ruins? Chuho explained without hesitation. In mystic zones, there are these ancient structures believed to be remnants of a lost civilization. People call them ruins. They say modern martial arts theories and even parts of gene science were reverse engineered from discoveries made inside these places. Yu Yong finally noticed the two new faces nearby. Wait a second. Who are you two? Were you eavesdropping on us? The tension in the air spiked instantly. But Huang Yuli stepped in before things escalated. Yu Yong, calm down. These two are Ihei and Chuho, top scorer and runner-up from Aining's martial entrance exam. Their strength is far above average. We should let them join us. She clapped a hand on Chuho's shoulder with a smirk. Relax, man. We're not here to steal your loot. We're here to help you get it. Yu Yong didn't look convinced at first, eyes narrowing. Fine, then how we split the gains? We're not part of your team, so we'll take a cut based on contribution. We earn it, we keep it. Ehei stepped forward and replied smoothly. Ei responded calmly, his voice steady. Yu Yong's face twisted in frustration, but he held himself back. There was no point in fighting two powerful newcomers. He snorted and gave in. Yu Yong said, all right, you're in, but don't try anything shady. Got it? Settled. Without another word, Yu Yong dove into the water, the rest following suit. Their strengthened bodies sliced through the lake. Descending almost 30 meters, Yang led them confidently, spotting a familiar marker he'd placed earlier. He gestured ahead. Yang said, that passage leads to the ruin. They emerged inside a dark, damp cave. Yu Yong immediately scanned the area, something clearly bothering him. Yu Yong asked, huh? Where's Liwi? I told him to stand guard right here. A voice snapped back, irritated. Maybe he found something and decided to keep it for himself. Yuang fumbled for his radio, calling Liwi repeatedly. Silence. No response. Huang Yuli's voice was composed but tense. Huang Yuli asked, when you first got here, did either of you check for signs of monster activity? Yu Yong shook his head. Yu Yong replied, nope. Liwi and I even deployed beast lure charges. Nothing showed up, not even a single strand of fur. One of their teammates looked uncertain. He asked, Liwi's missing. Are we really sure we should keep going? Yu Yong's expression hardened. He barked at them. We have to explore it. Riches and glory are right in front of you. If you're too scared to reach for them, you'll be stuck at the bottom forever. Anyone afraid of dying can leave now. But if you want to get rich, follow me. No one moved. Not a single person. The tension held everyone in place. They all wanted a piece of the reward. Yu Yong gave a curt nod. Yu Yong said, all right then, let's move. They advanced, silence weighing down on them. The only sound came from their footsteps echoing through the cave. Yu Yong led, sweeping his UV flashlight over the path, revealing faint glowing marks. Soon the tunnel narrowed, forcing them into single file. As they walked, Ehi threw a glance back at Chua. Just a glance, but it was enough. Ehi mouthed, something's off, Chua. Chua silently mouthed back, yeah, the timing doesn't add up. Rainey said they got to the lake only 10 minutes ago. Yet, these two managed to find this cave, swim through the lake, discover a hidden tunnel, and navigate all the way to a ruined entrance. That's not scouting. That's straight-up wall hack. Chua muttered, pretty clear we're being played. Want to warn your friend and get out of here? But Ahei just smirked. His eyes gleamed. Ahei whispered, relax. I got a trump card. They entered a vast underground cavern. Huge, the size of a football field. Vines crawled over every inch of it. They draped the walls, twisted across the ceiling, spread over the floor. Tangled within them were monster cores. Dim dead, and ash, piles of ash. Whatever had lived here before had been reduced to nothing. Huang Yuli's voice was cold and sharp. Huang Yuli said, Yu Yong, where's the ruin you promised? A scream. One of the teammates pointed, eyes wide. Hanging from the vines, a body, dried up, hollowed, pierced through by the green coils. It was Liwi. Two of the women staggered back in shock. Yu Yong collapsed, panic overtaking him. Yu Yong whispered, the ruin. Where is it? It was supposed to be here. Liwi's dead. How'd he die? The vines. The vines. He suddenly looked up, eyes wide with horror. Yu cried, I think the vines got to me too. Run, his head burst apart in a sickening explosion, blood and brain matter spraying out. From the ruined stump, vines slithered out, twisting like tentacles. Huang Yuli screamed, frozen in disbelief. Without hesitation, Ihei stepped forward. His body surged with energy, and he released a searing atomic breath, annihilating the vines and the upper half of Yu Yong's body in a blazing beam of blue. He stood firm, expression cold. Ihei said, I didn't expect a monster with this level of intelligence. It killed 2 fighters, took over one of their minds, then used his body as bait to lure in more victims. That's not hunting. That's strategic ambush, which means we're already deep inside its feeding ground. A crashing sound behind them. The tunnel collapsed. Stones and vines sealed the exit. Chua stepped up, analyzing the scene. Chua said, I've read about this species. It's a Tier 2 Royal Class monster, a ghost vine demon. Huang Yuli muttered, Royal Class. Those things aren't measured by normal tiers. We're all Tier 1 at best. We can't handle that kind of power. Ihei's grin was sharp, fearless. Ihei said, don't care what tier it is. Watch me blow it to pieces. He was ready to shift. His body tensed. Then, the tunnel they came through exploded. From the other side, a cloaked figure appeared, wrapped in blood cheese smoke, crackling with violent energy. His voice cut through the chaos. He growled, I've come to kill you. Someone gasped. A teammate whispered, that's blood cheese smoke. He's a stage 8 martial artist. The man turned slightly. He said, didn't expect someone would still be tailing me. Hong frowned. Word had someone use radiation to hold back a beast tide in the Red Tree Mountains. I knew it had to be you. I just followed the residual radiation. It led me straight here. To stay hidden, I held my breath, slowed my heartbeat, even feigned death in the underground caverns. But you still noticed and even blocked the path with boulders. And oh wonder, you're the one who nearly wiped out my entire clan. Ihei blinked, confused. Ihei asked, who even are you, old man? You just barged in and started ranting. Do we even know each other? The man exploded in rage. He shouted, cut the act. He charged. The ground quaked under his steps. But midway through, he froze, realization dawning. He yelled, no. This was the lair of a devil vine. Damn it. This was your plan all along. Vines erupted toward him. He responded with raw power, smashing them apart. Ihei just stood there, deadpan. He muttered, man, you sure talk a lot for someone we've just met. The old man growled, shut up. I came here to kill that bastard. Not get tangled up with a bunch of weeds. Huang Yuli shouted, this whole cave is going to collapse from your fighting. Ihei snapped back, move aside. His body shifted, deep blue skin, glowing cracks. Energy surged along his spine. He unleashed another atomic breath. The beam ripped through the ceiling, lake and sky. Water came flooding down. He turned to Julie. Ihei said, Julie, you guys go first. But the man roared, you're not going anywhere. His aura exploded again. Chua stepped in, drawing his sword. Frost spread from the blade, his bloodline power freezing the air. His blade met the man's punch. Fire and ice clashed, releasing a storm of steam. Chua said, as long as I'm here, you won't lay a finger on Ihei. The man sneered. He said, TCH, bold words, kid. I'm an 8th level martial breaker. You think a little frost is going to stop me? But then, boom, a direct hit. An atomic blast fist slammed into him, sending him flying. Ihei stood, energy still glowing. He said, get out of here. That guy's too strong for you right now. Leave him to me. Chua hesitated. Then he turned and ran. The cavern crumbled around Ihei. Vines surged toward him, thick and fast. He didn't run. He didn't dodge. He raised his hand and bit down hard on his own flesh. Up above, Huang Yuli and the others surfaced at the lake. Tension thick in the air. No sign of Ihei. A thunderclap split the sky. Blue lightning streaked upward, blasting through the lake. It was the Titan's transformation, a surge of energy powerful enough to tear the heavens open. The transformation becomes a cataclysm. The sheer mass generates enough energy to rival a humanoid nuclear explosion, powerful enough to wipe out entire military zones. And this time, the one transforming wasn't just any titan. It was Ahei, the atomic-powered human Godzilla. What burst out from him wasn't just light. It was a nuclear detonation. Halong didn't even have time to scream. The instant the blast hit, he was reduced to ash, his body charred and erased in a split second. The lake erupted. Torrents of water shot skyward, boiling instantly. Towering steam clouds rose like the aftermath of a bomb, and through that hazy curtain, a massive shadow flickered for just a moment. None of them could tell whether they'd really seen it, or just imagined it. Everyone stood on edge. Then Ahei crawled out of the lake, drenched and steaming, his voice sharp and casual. "Chiho, toss me some clothes." After throwing him an outfit and waiting for him to change, Chiho asked curiously, "What the hell was that explosion?" Ahei shrugged, making up something on the spot. "That mystery fighter? He blew himself up with a plasma bomb. Took the devil vine with him." Shijo squinted, "But I swear I saw some kind of giant in the fog." "Nope, just the explosion messing with your eyes." Ahei cut in quickly. He let out a small sigh of relief as the others bought the lie. If anyone found out he had a monster transformation template, things would get way too complicated. Still, he might have gone a little too far this time. The guy got vaporized, not even a corpse left behind to loot. Meanwhile, Hikari Lee retrieved the Devil Vine's core. Huang Yuli and her team, though alive, were completely drained from the encounter and ready to leave the secret realm. Ahei turned to them. "We'll head out first." Huang Yuli looked apologetic. "Sorry for dragging you into this mess. Not only was it a wasted trip for you, but you even had to save us. We'll make it up to you once you're out." Ahei grinned. "Come on, Julie. Don't be so formal. Let's just call it payback for the time you helped me." She laughed softly. "If you try to repay me again, I'll just end up owing you all over." With that, Huang Yuli waved goodbye and departed with her team. Ahei and Shuho stayed behind, continuing to explore the secret realm. With Ahei's powerful life field sensing ability, they racked up a serious haul. By the third day, confident they had enough, they prepared to leave. As they stepped back into the real world and looked up, they were stunned. Cargo planes roared across the sky, flying low. In just a few days, the place had been transformed. A full-blown town had sprung up, complete with runways. "Man, the infrastructure speed in this country is just insane," Ahei muttered. He made his way to the Relic Appraisal Center to get their loot evaluated and to pay the mandatory 10% tax. A staff member greeted him. "Sir, please be careful. If these items are damaged, it'll be your loss too." Ahei scratched his head sheepishly. "Sorry, I brought too much stuff. If I don't start unloading fast, you guys won't be done by noon." The staff member smiled patiently. "No worries, sir, we're professionals." Ahei took off his spatial ring and began pulling out bag after bag, lining them up. The staff's expression twitched as she watched the endless stream of bags. In her mind, she muttered bag after bag. Is this a relic appraisal or a warehouse delivery? She fidgeted with her pen, barely meeting his eyes as she asked, "Yes, sir, is that all of it?" Ahei couldn't help the cocky grin spreading across his face. "All done, but you better start calculating fast. We've still got a whole pile of spirit herbs coming." After finishing up with the monster cores, he casually strolled over to the herb counter. Honestly, those green and white-gray cores weren't doing anything for him anymore. Might as well turn them into cold hard cash. The real prizes were the 5 blue tier ones he'd scored during the Beast Tide, not to mention that fancy green core with gold veins from that royal class Devil Vine. Now that was something special. The payment notification buzzed in his pocket. Over 20 million Sia now sitting in his account. Even with all those zeros staring back at him, he didn't feel anything close to joy. Honestly, that mountain of cash couldn't compete with the thrill of raising his compatibility rate by just 10% in this world. Power was the only truth that mattered. So, how to spend that money for the biggest gain? The gene serums out there were all trash, no better than low-grade monster cores. They couldn't upgrade either of his current templates. He sighed. Even his templates were becoming picky now, high maintenance, just like him. He wanted better serums, but the good stuff was locked behind strict quotas. With his current clearance level, he couldn't even get on the wait list. Still, there was one other path to strength: martial arts. Back during the college entrance exam, he had outshined talents like Liu Chingu, all thanks to the raw stats of his Godzilla template. But technique-wise, he was way behind the martial arts nerds. So, it was time to fix that with some overpowered martial skills. And if anyone had access to that kind of thing, it was the principal of Number 1 High. He grinned. Time to visit the wise old man and milk some treasure out of him. Soon after, he strolled into the principal's office. The old man poured tea calmly. Seasoned and sharp-eyed, he immediately saw through him. This kid clearly wanted something. He brought out a bottle of expensive liquor, complete with a rare ginseng root inside. The kind that middle-aged men swore could enhance stamina, vitality, and more. After a bit of polite chat, he got straight to the point. "Principal, I'm looking to learn some powerful martial techniques that I haven't entered university yet. So, my only option is to reach out to martial families that D." "Oh, you have any connections?" The principal frowned. "You've already been admitted to Huadu University. It's practically guaranteed. Why rush? You can learn all that stuff once you're enrolled." "But I'm really hungry for growth, sir." The principal gave in. Fine. Since you're so eager, I'll make an exception and help out that you're a special case talent after all. And education should be tailored, not cookie cutter." He flashed a grin. "Exactly. Principal, rules are dead. People are alive. With flexible educators like you, the academic world still has hope." The next day around noon, his phone rang. "It's done. You can head over now." "Really? That's amazing. Thank you. Which martial family is it?" "The Liu family in Eros." "The Liu family. And they're willing to pass down their secret arts." This was going to be good. Meanwhile, in Aining City, a sleek black motorcycle tore through the streets. It was worth over 2 million, and riding it was Liu Qina, the Liu family's young heir. He crouched low, the engine howling like a beast. Behind him, a blonde beauty clung to his waist, her hair flying in the wind. "Jedi, you're so wild." He puffed up with pride, just about to boast, when a bright yellow rental bike suddenly glided up beside him. "Yo, bro, eyes on the road. One wrong move at that speed, and it steers your loved one's time." Liu Qinjia nearly exploded from humiliation. The so-called motorcycle god just got clowned by a rental bike? And that too, from a random dude? Are you nuts? You nearly gave me a heart attack riding a junky rental bike and trying to race me. Furious, he gunned the throttle, roaring ahead. "You keeping up with me? Dream on, pal." He smirked in victory, watching the rental bike shrink behind him, until that strange, thunderous roar came from behind. He glanced back. What the hell? He had kicked on his nuclear leg mode. Blue flames blasted from his calves, launching him like a jet on 2 wheels. He rocketed past on that tiny yellow bike. Later, bro with a casual grin, he zipped ahead and soared into the sky, vanishing into the clouds like a missile. Liu Qinjia and the girl behind him just stared, frozen. "Wait, bikes can fly now. That speed, wasn't that basically a jet?" 30 minutes later, he arrived at the Liu family estate. Calm and composed, like none of that ever happened. This was a proper martial clan. The place looked like a miniature fortress. His life field sense picked up powerful energies hidden throughout the estate. Yep, definitely not somewhere to mess around. Just then, a girl in a flowing white dress appeared at the gates. Liu Qingsu. She seemed a little nervous as she approached. "You've arrived. My mother asked me to escort you? Let's go meet her now." He nodded and followed quietly. Their feet sank into plush carpet as they entered a spacious, tastefully decorated hall. "Mother, he is here." Her voice was soft. Sharp clicks of high heels echoed from above. A mature, elegant woman descended the stairs slowly. Liu Qing's mother. He looked up, and his brain short-circuited for a second. She was stunning. Not in a flashy way, but refined, graceful. Time had only made her more mesmerizing. He held his breath. "Prime Minister, I understand now." A few days back, after the college exams, Liu Qingga had returned home expecting a scolding. Instead, her mother calmly invited her to tea, a rare and quiet moment. Ching Su, relax. I watched the live stream of your battle with that boy. You did well. Ihi's strength would be impressive even in Haru's elite exams. There's no need to beat yourself up. In this generation, you're the only one truly capable of carrying the Liu family's future. Your brother lacks the talent. He could never shoulder the legacy. But you're still a girl, and far too beautiful at that. She gently pinched her daughter's cheek. Your father passed too early, and without any strong relatives to back us. The Liu family has been forced to retreat to this tiny corner of Aining. If a major clan proposes a political marriage, we don't have the strength to refuse. That would mean the Liu family, our 100-year legacy, might be swallowed whole. Ihi is exceptional, gifted, humble, with a clean background and limitless future. And for what I've seen, he's no power-hungry schemer. I'd like to see you with him. What do I think? Her eyes locked with her daughter's. You don't have to answer me now. Spend some time with Ihi first. Back in the present, she stepped off the final stair. Welcome to the Liu family, Ihi. He almost struck a dramatic pose, but managed to hold it in. Instead, he bowed politely. Hello, Auntie. Just a small gift for you. She didn't even look at the gift. Instead, she said calmly, I heard from your principal that you're interested in advanced martial techniques. Ching Su will take you. He blinked. No tests, no hoops just like that. Ching Su will guide you to the Liu family's martial vault. But keep in mind, no techniques can be taken out. It's one day of study, and that's it. In the deepest part of the vault, there are 3 Shan Huang class martial arts. Whether you can learn them depends on your own ability. He inhaled sharply. Shan Huang level? Jackpot. Understood. Then allow me to thank the Liu family for this incredible opportunity. He'd chosen his words carefully, thanking the family, not just her. It was a formal promise, a future favor if needed. Qinlan was clearly pleased by the gesture. The more she looked at him, the more she liked what she saw. He, on the other hand, was starting to feel awkward. Was it just him, or was she staring too hard? Soon, Liu Ching Su began leading him deeper into the estate. Walking beside her, he couldn't help but notice she was acting a lot more reserved than before. Ching Su, why do I feel like you've been avoiding my eyes this whole time? He stepped forward suddenly, locking eyes with her startled expression. Her eyes widened like a frightened deer. She had never been this close to a guy before. His warm breath brushed her cheek. Her heart fluttered. And no, I wasn't. Why are you getting so close all of a sudden? Still teasing each other, they finally reached the entrance to a hidden stone chamber. Ihi touched the wall. It felt different. This is forced dampening stone that it was excavated from secret realm. Even a warlord class blow wouldn't crack it. His eyes lit up. Can I punch it once? She blinked in surprise. Most people would just be amazed, not asked to hit it. Go ahead. He clenched his fist, power surging. Atomic energy glowed blue across his knuckles. He threw a punch straight into the wall. The blast echoed out, but instead of shattering, the stone rippled like water, absorbing everything. He could feel it. Over 90% of his full power just vanished. Come on, I'll take you to pick a martial art. Ching Su smirked, watching his reaction. Finally, a loss. Inside the vault, she pointed out the categories: movement, defense, body training, swordplay. She handed him a sleek black card. Just swipe this to access whatever you want. The Shen Huang class techniques are in a private chamber at the very back. Also card protected. But listen, you won't master one in a day. At most, you'll scratch the surface. Honestly, she added, I don't know if my mother did you a favor or set you up. I could help you pick a few high-tier skills that aren't Tisha level, but they'd be way easier for you to learn and actually suited to your style. He grinned. Look at you worried about me. Then turned serious. If I don't even dare to face the strongest option when it's right in front of me, I might as well quit now and go home. She didn't say anything more. She stepped forward and opened the door to the Shen Huang vault. Inside were 3 cases: ephemeral shadows step, primordial jade fingers, the one she had shown before, and one more: fleshbound demon prison. You can't just read Jin Huang techniques like a book, Ching Su explained. They're encoded with something called martial resonance, a kind of spiritual rhythm left behind by the original creator. If you can't feel it, or if your own nature clashes with it, you won't even be able to start training. In short, these techniques were alive. You didn't choose them, they chose you. He nodded, then pointed with absolute confidence at the one with the most brutal-sounding name, Fleshbound Demon Prison. I was born for this technique, he declared with swagger. Lu Qingzhu opened the case. Inside wasn't a scroll or a manual, but a fearsome bronze statue. The figure was massive, with rippling muscles, and in the grooves of its body, ghostly faces twisted in silent agony. It was as if 100 evil spirits had been forcibly sealed within. The aura coming off it was downright chilling. As the statue was revealed, he blinked. Wait, this is the martial technique. And then he heard it, distant, eerie wails echoing in his ears. Shenhuan techniques aren't always written, Qingzhu explained. They can take the form of statues, paintings, relics, anything that can hold martial resonance. That's what makes grandmasters so mysterious. Only they can distill that essence, what we call martial resonance, and seal it into an object for future generations to inherit. With her explanation done, she turned to leave. From here on, it's up to you. Wait, hold on. What do you mean up to me? I didn't even learn how to learn it. Just feel it. If a resonance chooses you, it'll come to you. He stared at her, baffled. Is she trolling me right now? Ugh, whatever, he muttered. Thinking too hard gives me a headache. With a yawn, he flopped flat onto the floor and murmured, if it's all about fate, I'll let fate find me in my sleep. And just like that, out cold. From a surveillance room, Lu Qingzhu sighed and facepalmed. Honestly, this is so you. Suddenly, he found himself somewhere else, a decrepit old temple covered in dust. At the altar stood an angry-faced deity, its arm broken clean off. So this is what they meant by entering the resonance realm. This whole place is the martial resonance, the spiritual echo of the technique. He tried channeling his power. Nothing. Not a flicker of atomic energy from his demon template. It was like being reduced to a powerless civilian. Thankfully, the monster interface still worked. Post-consciousness detected inside unknown domain, engaging mental body reinforcement to prevent death. But it wasn't just the system. A rough, savage voice suddenly thundered in his ears. Standing atop the remaining arm of the wrath-faced guardian statue was a brute of a man, muscular, scarred, eyes like a hungry wolf, staring him down. My martial legacy ain't for weaklings. Only real, iron-blooded men can carry it forward. If you're not one of them, I'd rather let it rot in the ground. Prove you've got the guts, kid. He looked identical to the statue outside. Every scar, every snarl exact. When the storm hits and the night parade of 100 ghosts begins, you're guarding this dump. Let a single demon defile this altar, and you fail. You win. I'll teach you a trick or two. But if you lose, the white ghost will eat your soul, and you'll go mad. Martial path, over. So if you're just a soft little punk, run. A cold raindrop leaked through the broken ceiling and landed on his face. When he snapped out of it, the savage brute was gone. The trial had officially begun. Behind the wrath-faced guardian's throne, he found a rusted, battered longsword. Alone, sword in hand, he stood at the shattered gates of the temple. The rain poured harder. Thunder cracked through the sky, and a blinding white bolt lit up his face. The night parade of 100 ghosts had begun. From the darkness, countless shadowy figures shrieked and lunged. He was already in position, ready. As the first specter dove at him, he slashed without hesitation. The moment the blade struck, the rusted sword flared with golden light. The specter screamed and dissolved into ash. Knew it, he muttered. No way they'd throw me into a trial without something to fight back with. These bones must be hiding more gear. A grin crept across his face. He was fired up now, no longer guarding passively. He charged straight into the heart of the spectral swarm. From a distance, the savage brute reappeared. Arms crossed, he watched with a scornful sneer. These white ghosts are laced with my killing intent. And this little rookie thinks he can just walk out of the safe zone? What a joke. Another idiot. Each generation gets dumber. Guess I'll be cleaning up another corpse today. But down in the trial, he was having the time of his life, slicing through ghosts like weeds. Then a specter lunged, but its claws phased right through him. What the? The brute froze. Why can't my ghost touch him? What is this kid made of? Turns out, inside the resonance trial, his monster template had automatically activated a guardian mode. He was untouchable. Wait, does this mean I'm literally invincible right now? A wicked grin spread across his face. His laughter even started to sound a little unhinged. And so began the massacre. His sword skills? Absolutely garbage. But it didn't matter. Slash, leap, spin, stab, ghost fell like chopped vegetables. The brute just stared. When did my trial become a joke? How is he unaffected by my martial resonance? Simple, he said smugly. Hard work and constant practice. Of course, that punchable face didn't show the truth. He was just shamelessly cheating with a built-in hack. Hard work, huh? The brute chuckled darkly. You've handled the ghosts. I won't go back on my word. But whether you can handle this inheritance, that's a different story. As he finished, thunder cracked again. The wrath-faced statue collapsed, revealing a dark, ancient well beneath it. A bottomless pit. Just one glance into it sent a chill down his spine. Inside that well lies the purest essence of malice I forged in life. The flesh-bound demon prison technique, its true form, is down there. That is, if you can absorb it. He didn't even wait for a reply. He jumped in. Huh, good, the brute thought. That's the kind of guts I like. He grinned, truly impressed for the first time. In his prime, the man had been a legend. One of the few to conquer an S-rank secret realm. His rise and fall, both tied to one technique, flesh-bound demon prison. But as he aged, his body weakened. The malice and vengeful spirits he had sealed began to claw back, twisting his mind. Eventually, he lost control, started killing those closest to him. To stop himself, he ended his own life. In his final moments, he fused his rage and spiritual imprint into the statue, creating a legacy only the worthy could claim. Even after 100 years, the malice hadn't fully faded. For an ordinary martial novice, it was a death sentence. But if Ahai could conquer the curse that destroyed its creator, then on the path of flesh-bound demon prison, he'd surpass him. Back in the surveillance room, Qinlan stepped beside Lu Qingzhu. Together, they silently watched Ahai, now deep in the resonance realm. Suddenly, Qingzhu gasped. Mom, what's going on? On screen, Ahai's body was surrounded by a strange, ominous aura. His limbs twitched violently, like invisible needles pierced his flesh. Just moments ago, he'd been smiling in his sleep, like he was having the best nap ever. Now he was convulsing, as if electrocuted. Worse, tiny streams of blood began to seep from his pores. But Qinlan showed no panic. Calmly, she inhaled from her cigarette and exhaled. This third Qiang technique. Your grandfather stumbled on it late in life. Try to train in it. Even with his mastery, the resonance rejected him outright. It injured him severely. Since then, no one in the Liu family dared touch it again. The stronger the power, the harsher the price. Heavy lies the crown. And since he chose to claim that power, he must be ready to... She stopped. Her eyes widened. On screen, Ahai yawned, then casually stretched, like he'd just woken from a 5-star nap. The room fell silent. Qinlan looked mildly embarrassed. Qingzhu, on the other hand, grinned. Mom, maybe Yi's cultivation isn't as dramatic as you made it sound. Ahai stared at the cracked statue in front of him. He bowed deeply. Thank you, Senior, for passing down your legacy. Then, one last echo of the brute's voice rang in his mind. Kid, you're the most gifted person I've ever seen. Maybe you're the one who can uncover the truth behind the secret realm we never could. That unfinished mission now falls to your generation. He sighed internally. Man, you got me all wrong. I'm just using cheat codes. He clenched his fists, feeling power surge through him. Flesh-bound demon prison. A body like a living Azura. His stats hadn't gone up, but now that he had the technique of Ishin Wang, his combat power had easily doubled. Just then, the stone door creaked open. Qinlan and Lu Qingzhu stepped into the chamber. Did you succeed? Ahai flashed a bright grin. Yup, nailed it. Qinlan stared stunned. This can't be. Even with Qingzhu's talent, It takes at least a week, no sleep, full immersion to grasp the Ishin Wong technique. Hey, hi, how long were you in there? An hour. You seriously apped your way to mastery. Qingzhu looked at him, half amused. Ahai wore a smug little grin. Everyone always called me the genius. But the real genius is standing right here. Noticing their skeptical looks, he chuckled. All right, you want proof? I'll give you a little demonstration. He gathered qi from his dantian, channeling it into his palm. Normally, martial qi was invisible, but this wasn't normal. What formed his hand was black and red, crackling with malice. A twisted, corrupted aura born from the spiritual trial. Put simply, it was like a video game enchantment, boosting damage and lethality. Mountain-crushing fist. He dropped into a stance, spine taut like a bowstring, core tight, and launched a punch crackling with black-red energy. The blast sent a gust rushing toward the mother and daughter, forcing them to step back. In the air, they could swear they heard a ghost wailing. Even Lu Qingzhu, known as a martial arts prodigy, narrowed her eyes. That punch just now, the precision, the pressure, it was insane. Was that seriously just mountain-crushing fist? The most basic, overused technique in town. Qinlan's gaze locked onto Yi. Her expression unreadable. She hadn't expected to be this wrong about him. Meanwhile, he was growing visibly uncomfortable under her intense stare. Ma'am, please, he said, awkwardly. Your daughter's literally right next to you. Don't make this a weird romance subplot. I'm not trying to become the prime minister of this household. EQ Chingu chimed in sweetly. Since you've already mastered the Win Wong technique, want to try the other two? You still have a full day of learning left. Qinlan raised a brow, casting her daughter a sideways glance. Girl, please. I'm trying to secure this genius as a future son-in-law. But he's not officially part of our family yet. We can't just hand over the entire Liu clan playbook all at once. Who had lived through an entire second life, knew the danger of greed. He offered a polite smile. No need. That one technique is already more than enough. I'll need time to really master it. Also, Annie, I'm a bit tired. There are things I need to take care of at home. Qinlan appreciated his restraint even more. Very mature. I heard from the housekeeper that you showed up on a rental bike. Can you drive? Head to the garage and pick a car. You'll need something more convenient. That reminded he of something he'd seen earlier. Actually, Annie, I saw this guy riding a motorcycle earlier. It looks seriously cool. Do you have any of those? Jean Lon chuckled. Oh, absolutely. You like motorcycles too? Same taste as my rebellious son. I'll give you his favorite one, the best in his collection. A few minutes later, Lu Chunia arrived home, just in time to hear Aunt Hong, the housekeeper, muttering something about his mom bringing in a future son-in-law. Future son-in-law? I've got to see which lunatic thinks he's worthy of my sister. She's not just beautiful, she's a once-in-a-century prodigy in all of Aining. No way some random guy is good enough for her. He clenched his fists. That rental bike punk from earlier really ticked me off. Scared off the girl I just picked up. If I ever see him again, I swear I'll teach him what real trouble looks like. Just then, something whooshed past in a blur. Lu Chunia turned, and his jaw dropped. Wait, that guy. That's the rental bike dude. Why the hell is he riding my motorcycle? Later that night, back at home, he laid out 5 monster cores collected from a secret realm. It was time to absorb the power within. Last time, dry swallowing them nearly killed him. But this time, he was prepared. He'd whipped up his signature, soul-boosting dipping sauce. He picked up a core, dipped it in the fiery mix, and swallowed it whole. Instantly, a surge of energy erupted through his limbs, flooding his body with searing heat. He opened his system panel. Back in the Red Tree Mountain realm, he had used the Titan form template, towering at around 50 meters tall. Compared to normal monsters, he was a behemoth. But compared to that thing, the mountain-sized, godlike entity hidden in the mist, he was a speck. All right then, he muttered. Let's go bigger. He dumped every single point into the Titan template. Then, without hesitation, he grabbed the rarest of the cores, the green one streaked with golden veins, dipped it in sauce, and downed it like a hot snack. Just as the special monster core was about to be absorbed into his Godzilla template, The system blared an unexpected alert. Ding! Legendary Godzilla template has absorbed a highly plant-based life form. Genetic mutation detected in progress. Do you wish to prevent the template from mutating? Yes, no, he hesitated. A template mutation could mean an entirely new subclass, stronger. Or worse, if he rolled into a garbage form with reverse evolution, that'd be tragic. Screw it, he said. Life's about taking chances. Rental bike to super bike, right? He hit Do Not Prevent Mutation. The system chimed again. Mutation path unlocked. Legendary Godzilla plus plant attribute S-Class variant. Planet Godzilla template. When the current template reaches 100% integration, there will be a 2% chance to evolve into Planet Godzilla. Absorbing more high-quality plant-based life forms will further increase that probability. He let out a breath of relief. Phew, jackpot. Planet Godzilla might resemble the regular version on the outside, but in scale, it was something else entirely. Over 300 meters tall, weighing more than 1 million tons, officially dubbed the largest Godzilla in recorded history. Power-wise, every stat was an upgrade, a true next-level form. But first, his current template had to hit 100% integration. Time to grind. Fast. As he mapped out his next steps, a thunderous explosion rocked the outside world. From the window, he saw flames burst into the sky, lighting up the night. He froze. What the hell is this? A terrorist attack. Just outside Yehi's house, a group of soldiers rushed toward the nearby park, their leader shouting orders with urgency. Seal off all exits. Don't let them escape. Search every corner. Leave no stone unturned. Inside the house, Yehi remained seated on his bed, staring at the door with a frown. The original owner of this body was a recluse. No friends would be visiting. I didn't order any food or packages either. Then who's outside? Before he could finish the thought, a sudden gust of wind blew from the window behind him. He turned, only to see a mysterious girl clad in battle armor silently entering through the open window. She met his gaze and smirked. So, little brother isn't just an ordinary martial artist after all. Yehi's eyes narrowed. Who are you? The girl stepped forward, her tone nonchalant but laced with danger. Originally, I just wanted to hide something in your house. I would have wiped your memory afterward, clean and simple. But now that you've noticed me, her smile darkened. I have no choice but to make you suffer a bit. Don't even think about running. Yehi raised an eyebrow, unfazed. Fighting in the house would be a pain. I've got savings, but buying a new one would still be annoying. He let out a sigh and said calmly, Forget it. I'll just buy another house. The girl blinked in confusion, her irritation flaring. What the hell are you talking about? With a dramatic smirk and eyes full of confidence, Yehi stood up. I'm saying, you're already dead. Meanwhile, outside, on a road not far away, a fierce battle raged. A man stood at the center, surrounded by police officers aiming weapons at him. The target has exposed a flaw, one officer shouted. Take him down. The man, Zhou Yi, stood tall, his face calm, even smiling. Yao Ime, you must get the golden gene out of here, he shouted behind him. I, Zhou Yi, will draw their fire. His laughter echoed as he stepped forward defiantly. Come on then. Trading my life for all of yours is more than worth it. As he roared, his body ignited with fierce energy, blood-burning, forbidden technique. A blinding blue light shot up from the direction of Yehi's house. Moments later, Yao Yimei crashed hard to the ground beside Zhou Yi, bruised and injured. Zhou Yi looked at her and forced a grin. Wasn't your nano-battle suit originally white? Why does it look like charcoal now? Sis, I risked everything to give you time. Take it and go. What's wrong with you? Yao Mei pushed herself up, coughing. I've already hidden the item. Let's retreat first. Suddenly, boom. An explosion echoed through the area, sending up a cloud of dust. Using the chaos, the sibling pair slipped away through a hidden tunnel. Later, in a quiet, distant spot, they rested, catching their breath. Yao Mei looked over her shoulder. Finally lost those cops. Zhou Yi chuckled. As expected from nano armor, it's already repairing itself. But before they could relax further, a voice called out from the shadows. Beautiful lady, Yehi said, stepping into view. You still haven't explained why you broke into my house. He laughed, a smirk playing on his lips. You should have realized a very serious mistake by now. You thought you were picking a random bystander to use as cover. But you accidentally chose me, the big boss. He grinned wider. Now that you're here, I might as well have some fun. Joey stood up, shocked. Itch, how did you find us? Yet he calmly tapped his temple, calculating. The nuclear radiation on Ime's body. That was my marker. He smiled coldly. If you're done talking, let's fight. In an instant, Yehi dashed forward, his fists crackling with swirling black and red energy. Perfect time to test my new move. Flashbound Demon Technique. He barely had time to raise his arms in defense before the first punch landed squarely, sending energy surging through him. Blood sprayed from his mouth as the impact knocked him off balance. He didn't stop. His second punch gathered even more red and black energy, and when it landed, boom, a shockwave rippled through the area. He was sent flying, crashing into the ground like a broken doll. Yao Mei watched in stunned silence, her eyes wide. What? What kind of martial arts is that? She gasped. Brother, what master did you learn that from? Yehi adjusted his collar, casually brushing dust off his shoulder. I'm a disciple of Emperor Guangla. Behind him, He lay motionless, groaning faintly. Yao Mei stared at Yehi, impressed but wary. Emperor Guangla. Never heard of him. Could this small city of Anqing really be hiding monsters like this? Before she could think further, a low growl rumbled from behind Yehi. Yi, still sprawled on the ground, pushed himself up, his face twisted in pain and fury. Kid, don't get cocky. His eyes gleamed as a terrifying transformation took over, his body expanding, bones cracking, muscles swelling. A massive horn burst forth from his forehead, and thick armor-like skin coated his body. I'm a dignified 6th-tier martial artist. He roared. You think a mere martial apprentice like you can handle me? Each of his steps cracked the ground beneath him. The pressure radiating off him warped the air. But Yehi didn't move. He just smiled, grinding his teeth, eyes gleaming with excitement. Now, that's more like it. But just as the clash was about to erupt, whoosh, behind Yehi, a shadow flickered into existence. Yao Ime in stealth mode, her nano battle suit shimmering into visibility as she lunged toward his back. Brother, you forgot, my suit has stealth capabilities. The real attacker is me. Just a split second before her blade reached his back, zap. Ye didn't even look. With a flick of his finger, he fired a concentrated blue nuclear energy beam directly behind him. Out of my way. The blast hit Yao Ime square in the chest, hurling her into the air. She crashed hard into the grass with a groan, armor sparking. Zhou Yi's eyes widened in disbelief. Yao Ime, you useless fool. You even failed at an ambush? His fury boiled over, gathering energy into his legs. He launched himself forward, the ground shattering beneath him. I'll deal with you myself. Yet he grinned, heart pounding. Here we go. Their fists collided, boom. A burst of lightning exploded from the impact, shock waves tearing through the earth. Yet he skidded back, arms trembling. His eyes widened. His defense. It increased again. He smirked, fangs glinting. In this form, I am the iron-crowned rhinoceros demon beast. Even a tank barrage can't scratch me. What do you think you're going to do? Not only was his defense near absolute, but his strength was surging, overwhelming. Yet he narrowed his eyes. This might be trouble. Then, the demon's horn lowered, and he charged. The horn gleamed inches from Yehi's face, boom! An explosion erupted on impact, light and dust swallowing the scene. The dust had yet to fully clear, but he stood tall, smiling with the calm confidence of a grandmaster. Little brat, no matter how arrogant you are, you're no match for my iron-crowned rhino form. But as the dust settled, he was gone. Zhou Yi's smile vanished. Where did he go? A sudden, heavy pressure pressed down on his back. Slowly, he turned, and what he saw made his blood run cold. Towering in front of him, a colossal titanic beast stood, thick steam erupting from its plated body. The monstrous form had erupted from Yehi's previous shell, like a snake shedding its skin, only this was far, far worse. Zhou, he took a stumbling step back. What the hell is this? His eyes darted around, trying to make sense of it. Is this demonic? No. Did that little brat transform into this? Before he could process any more, the Titan raised one giant hand and slammed it down toward him. Zhou Yi barely leapt into the sky in time as the ground below exploded in a deafening shockwave. But Yehi no, the titanic Yehi wasn't done. With thunderous steps, the giant chased after him and raised his fist again, this time gathering swirling blue nuclear energy in his palm. The system's voice echoed in Yehi's mind. Transformation. Ultra-gigantic arthroscopic form activated viral physical status boost. 23. 8294. He launched the massive energy punch toward Zhou Yi. The blast roared like a star exploding, shaking the very skyline. Meanwhile, down on the shattered field, Yao Yimei watched from the ground, using her nano suit to stay conscious. Her body trembled as she looked up at the monstrosity. Her mouth was dry. What the hell is that? This is beyond any known transformation. Did I provoke a literal monster? She hesitated, instinct screaming at her to escape before she was noticed. But then, her gaze flicked toward Zhou Yi, still fighting, blood already pouring from multiple wounds. If this keeps going, Zhou, you will be beaten to death. I can't run. I have to fight, even if it kills me. With a breath of resolve, she climbed to the top of a nearby building. Holding a glowing silver thread in one hand, she launched herself from the rooftop, soaring straight toward the Titan. The thread wrapped tight around Yehi's massive neck. This is a molecular line, pulled from my nano armor, she shouted, eyes blazing. It can cut through high-grade alloy with ease. You may have become a monster through some gene experiment, but you still have human weaknesses. With all her strength, she yanked. The colossal head of the Titan began to shift, then detach from the body, crashing to the ground in front of her. She landed with it, panting heavily, body slick with sweat. For a moment, silence. She stared at the fallen head. Did I do it? But then, with a hiss, the mouth of the severed head began glowing. Blue nuclear energy gathered violently between the jaws. Yao Mei's eyes widened in horror. Monster! A searing energy blast shot from the Titan's mouth, launching her through a building and hurling her into the sky. Her final thought before losing consciousness was of a blinding, brilliant blue that swallowed everything. Dust and smoke blanketed the battlefield once again. Then, out from the hollowed Titan head, Yehi emerged, steam rising from his body, expression calm, composed. He walked slowly, hands in his pockets, toward the ruined battlefield. Zhou Yi collapsed, bleeding, barely breathing. Yehi stood over him, eyes sharp. It's your turn. Zhou Yi, broken and trembling, looked up at him in terror. Why you? Monster. Standing over the broken, bloodied body, Yehi's eyes were cold as his voice dropped like a blade through the silence. Those who kill should be prepared to be killed. Zhou Yi coughed up blood, slowly closing his eyes. A twisted smile curled across his face even as death crept in. If I'm going to die anyway. His tone dipped into something darker. Then I'll drag you down with me. Ye stayed silent, gaze sharp and unmoving. That woman you just killed, Yao Yimei, she hid something in your room. It's called the golden gene. Zhou Yi rasped, grin spreading manically. It's yours now, and they'll come for it. You'll be hunted. You won't get a moment of peace. Run. Run while you still can. With a sick laugh and blood coating his teeth, he hissed, I'll be waiting for you. In hell. Ye didn't blink. He simply raised his leg and slammed a brutal kick down on Zhou Yi's face, crushing the last of his words into the concrete. Run my ass. You talk too damn much. A faint sound stirred nearby. Sirens grew louder in the distance. Yet he clicked his tongue, eyes narrowing at the edges of the alley. The cops are coming. Gotta deal with the body fast. He glanced down at the mess. Might have gone too far this time. Later that night, in the quiet of his apartment, Yehi sat on the edge of his bed, scrolling through his phone, light from the screen painting his face blue in the dark. "Aunt Sheen, how did the police questioning go?" he typed. The reply came seconds later. "It's all fine now. But Iha, things haven't been peaceful lately. You better just lay low until Hwadu University starts." Ye smiled faintly as he typed back. "Don't worry, Aunt Sheen. You know me. I'm the most well-behaved person in Anqing." "That's good to hear," she replied. He tossed the phone to the bed with a soft thud and stood up, stretching. "Good thing I gave Aunt Sheen a heads up in advance. With my current signature level, the police definitely wouldn't have overlooked me after all that." He turned toward the nightstand where the capsule rested, the faint glow of the golden gene catching his eye. "So, this is the golden gene they were talking about," he muttered, picking it up, turning it over in his hand. His gaze settled on the symbol printed on the side. "I've seen this before," he murmured. "It was in the Prometheus file that person from Hwadu gave me." His eyes sharpened. The logo of Laserbird, a biotech giant. Yet he exhaled slowly, jaw tightening as the memory of Joey's final words echoed in his mind. "So he dumped the whole mess on me." Outside the shattered window, the night wind swept in. Lights flickered across the city as the curtains fluttered like ghosts. Ye stepped toward the window, looking out. "Looks like it's time to move. I'll crash at a hotel tonight. Figure things out from there." At the meantime, somewhere deep in the B-class secret realm inner region of Swan Lake, many warriors had gathered, hunting monsters and collecting monster stones. They talked among themselves about profits and loot. But then, they suddenly noticed something in the distance. One of them said, "Captain Loop, something's wrong," and all of them turned to look in that direction with shocked expressions. Some distance away, on the other side of the lake, a giant monster appeared. The sky turned blood red, and with that monster, many other smaller monsters appeared in groups and began heading towards them. All around the lake, monsters gathered and rushed in a single direction. On the back of that enormous monster, which resembled an ancient crocodile from 1,000 years ago, someone was sitting quietly in a throne. It was the 5th-tier sovereign-class beast, Blood-Eye Sin Wolf, calmly observing the distant land like the king of the world. Seeing the incoming monster tide, all the warriors started running for their lives. They shouted, "Quickly notify the military." Sovereign-class beast spotted leading a massive beast tide. "City won't survive this. We must deploy Grandmasters and Senior Grandmasters immediately." Damn it. Monsters rarely leave their own territories. Why is this one in a low-tier zone? As the red-eyed beast glared, a giant roar erupted. A death shockwave rippled across the lake, sending rocks flying toward the fleeing warriors. One of them shouted, reporting to the military, "Emergency! Sovereign-class beast appeared at Swan Lake. The beast tide is spreading. Requesting reinforcement." I repeat, requesting. But he couldn't finish his sentence as a rock slammed into him. On the other end of the line, someone shouted into the walkie-talkie, asking for a response. But the monsters had already begun their charge. The Blood-Eye Sin Wolf stood from his throne with excitement and ordered, "Full speed ahead." Immediately, all the monsters stormed toward the cave entrance. Outside the realm, in the city, people noticed something strange in the sky. All eyes turned upward as a public announcement echoed across the city. A massive beast tide is coming from the Swan Lake realm. Estimated arrival to in city in 20 minutes. Military forces have been deployed to the front line. I hereby call on all martial artists in city to aid in the defense. All available fighters to the front. As panic spread, the military made announcements to calm the public. "Dear citizens, please do not panic. Only the children are in city's future. If we really fall, they must survive." At the same time, in the mayor's office, with a heart-fallen expression, the mayor asked his assistant, "Did you request reinforcement?" "Who is sending troops?" The assistant replied, "Mayor, it's not just in city. Beast tide warnings are coming in nationwide. Every city is overwhelmed." Looking through her tablet, she continued, "Even without beast incursion, our building defenses, no one is coming." The mayor, sweat rolling down his face, asked, "What about Hwadu? Can't they send even one Grandmaster?" Sitting back in his chair with determination, he muttered, Huadu's neighboring Guangshan city is facing an S-class realm breakout. All high rankings are deployed there. With no time to waste, the mayor understood clearly the battle for a city had begun, and they would have to rely on themselves. At the training ground of Shu Sensei, Yi and Chu Zhou were sparring with each other. Yi landed a punch squarely on Chu Zhou's chest, and from the impact, Chu Zhou staggered back a few steps. Yi looked at him confidently and said, Not bad. You took that punch. Both of them relaxed a little, and Chu Zhou let out a sigh of relief before saying, When did you pick up Black Tortoise style? But he couldn't finish his sentence before Yi yawned and interrupted with a teasing tone, A month ago. It's still rough around the edges. But did you seriously get weaker in just 1 month? Hearing that, Chu Zhou responded with a wry laugh. Not that I got weaker. You just got freakishly strong. Just then, both of them noticed an alert flashing and turned their heads in that direction. Chu Zhou's eyes narrowed with concern as he said, Something happened at An City. Beast Tide alert triggered. The alert popped up on Chu Zhou's phone, stating, Priority boarding for An City University prep students. Please head to the airport for flights B521 and D753 or to An City Rail for train A423. Evacuate immediately. Reading it, Chu Zhou muttered, Evacuation alert. Yi, calm and confident, put his hands into his pockets and said, You're not thinking of leaving, are you? Chu Zhou closed his eyes and, with a disappointed expression, replied, And you're staying? With your talent, you should run. But Yi cracked his fist with excitement, forming a devilish smile, and said, You talk too much. Since when were you this sentimental? If you're staying, there's only one thing left to say. The scene shifted to Yangzhu's house. She rushed in her mother's room with panic in her eyes and said, Mom, I want to join the defense effort. Her mother, Qin, didn't change her expression and replied in a calm voice, What are the odds you'll come back alive? There are 30,000 martial artists in the city. Counting retired waiters and volunteers, we barely have 50,000. Against a beast tide this large, we're like boats in a tsunami. We'll be swallowed whole. Adjusting her daughter's hair gently, Qin continued, Sovereign-class beasts, and city can't stop even one. Only grandmasters stand a chance. Yangzhu, your life doesn't belong to you alone. It belongs to this family. Hearing those words, Yangzhu's mood shifted. She didn't say anything, but her expression turned furious. As she walked away from the room, wide-eyed with anger, she said before leaving, A martial family that can't fight monsters doesn't deserve to survive. She stormed out, slamming the door shut behind her. Her mother lit a cigarette in silence after Yangzhu left, then turned to Aunt Hong and said, We are leaving An City. With a respectful bow, Aunt Hong asked, What about that boy? Yi. At the mention of Yi, Qin's eyes turned sharp and determined. She replied, Send him a message. Let him decide for himself. That's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this manhwa. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you either in a new manhwa recap or in the next episode of this one. Until then, take care and bye-bye. Meanwhile, at the edge of the Swan Lake Rift, tens of thousands of martial artists had gathered. Old Chun, nearly 60, was teased for being there, but he retorted that if old Zhang could show up with a bad leg, he could too. They laughed about fighting a beast tide 30 years ago and Zhang losing his leg. When asked if he would move to the capital with his son, Zhang said he would rather stay here, play chess with Chun, and one day be buried in his hometown. Around the city, Anqing's defense line was fully set, tanks, anti-air guns, Gatlings, and heavy cannons forming a steel wall. 60% of its forces and over half its top martial artists had already entered the rift as the vanguard, tasked to scout the beast tide, identify powerful beasts, and return with intel. Huangqing suddenly sensed danger. A blood-soaked warrior stumbled from the rift, missing an arm. Medics rushed him as he handed over a flash drive with combat data. When asked about the others, he replied they were all dead, crushed by the beast tide, nothing left. Trembling, he warned them about a crimson-black ape that trapped them, saying thousands could have survived without it. Before he could continue, a roar erupted and a massive stone spear shot out, tearing through a skyscraper. Huang Qing realized it was aimed at landmines to destroy their defense grid. He ordered tanks to fire. Artillery rained on the rift, but no beasts emerged, only attacks meant to exhaust their firepower. Huang Qing grimly questioned how beasts could use tactics. Another wave of stone spears burst through. Tanks positioned in time, and they landed harmlessly on open ground. Then strange noises came from shattered fragments. Beasts burst out, one biting a soldier's head off. Similar ambushes spread. The spears were pods delivering monsters. Huang Qing ordered them shot down midair before landing. At the rift's mouth, a massive crocodilian beast lay still, while the crimson-eyed black ape narrowed its gaze, its cunning eyes seeming to judge that humans could no longer resist. Soldiers cleared the battlefield. A Lord-class white-furred gorilla entered the fight, followed by the beast horde breaking into the city. While it acted as the front threat, other beasts slipped through and spread across Aining. Atop one of the tallest towers, he watched the situation worsening. Despite only being here a few months, the city felt like home, so he jumped down and activated his Emperor Mola form to join the battle. Luo had already taken down several beasts. Kai Shaoling remained unimpressed, and Luo backed down under her stare. The temperature suddenly dropped. Chuho appeared holding a blue magic core, confirming he had defeated a Tier 3 beast. They stayed because their fighter parents were on the front lines. A warning came as something like a tank fell from above. Flying beasts filled the sky, and an actual tank nearly hit them. Chuho cut in half, leaving 2 large craters. Kai Shaoling traced the source and thought it was the same Lord-tier beast, but Chuho noted the difference. Before he could finish, the creature attacked with a massive punch strong enough to wipe them out. As Chuho prepared himself, a black and blue meteor struck the white ape's head. The beast's head twisted aside and collapsed. The white ape struck back, but its massive hand was stopped by a single finger. Ahai forced its jaw open and released blue energy directly inside, killing it instantly. Kai Shaoling and Lu Shin stared, recognizing the blue glow. Chuzhou watched Ahai standing on the corpse and felt a trace of hope. Ahai told him the zone was theirs and launched into the sky to support other fronts. From above, he saw the city burning, yet still resisting. He activated his scanner, located the largest monster cluster, and flew toward a defense line under siege. A mammoth-sized beast ignored artillery, so soldiers switched to melee, sacrificing themselves just to wound it. Bodies piled up, but no one retreated. Their goal was simple: hold the line until stronger fighters arrived. Suddenly, dark red shadows entered the battlefield and attacked beasts instead of humans. Warriors seized the opening, killing many. The shadows restrained the mammoth beast, allowing a blue beam from above to pierce its head, killing it instantly. Surrounding monsters panicked and backed away. Ahai landed, activating his radiant core battle form and eliminating large numbers of beasts with energy attacks. In other zones, commanders noticed beasts converging toward one direction. A messenger arrived, reporting that Ahai, Aining's top scholar, had joined the fight. Warriors understood why the beasts were shifting and rushed to intercept, determined to protect him. Elsewhere, fully transformed, Ahai destroyed another massive monster, the shockwave pulping nearby beasts. More approached, attempting to overwhelm him, but he struck the ground with force. A burst of blue pulse energy blasted outward, scattering monsters. Cracks spread beneath Ahai as radiation flooded the field. Commanders shouted to protect him, calling him humanity's hope and rallying fighters to hold the line until he arrived. His presence alone motivated veterans and pushed soldiers to keep the base standing. 5 Lord-tier beasts charged straight toward Ahai, drawn by that hope. Their advance prevented human warriors from closing in. Suddenly, colossal stone walls rose around the monsters, trapping them. Mayor Hang Qing had arrived, floating above the battlefield, his Xuan Wu-tier technique forming Earthpool's fortress. He knew it would only delay them. The Overlord still had to be killed. The White Ape King tried to leap over the wall, stepping on its allies to propel itself upward. Hang Qing appeared above it, struck its skull, and killed it instantly, showing the gap between Xuan Wu-tier and Lord-tier strength. He prepared to finish the rest, but paused as the dimensional rift expanded. A gigantic crocodilian head forced its way out, the mountain-crushing crocodile, a Tier 4 royal lord beast. Hang Qing recognized it from reports. It was the personal mount of the Tier 5 overlord, the bloody black ape. The city's projectile attacks had been its work. If the mount was here, the overlord would follow. Hang Qing reacted immediately, slammed his palms down, and unleashed Gonart. Tsunami of stone, waves of earth energy flooding across the battlefield. Hang Qing struck the ground again, turning solid earth into a massive 100-meter wave, crashing toward the mountain-crushing crocodile. The beast condensed the wave into a stone sphere, absorbing its force without effort. Hang Qing had already disappeared, reappearing in front of the creature. Using earth powers was only a distraction to close the distance. Before the crocodile could react, Hang Qing unleashed earth-piercing spiral fist. The punch drilled through its diamond-hard eyelid, bursting its eye. The beast roared so violently that city windows shattered and the ground shook. Razor-sharp spikes erupted across hundreds of meters, transforming the battlefield. But Hang Qing had already ordered warriors to stay far away. Because only the beast's head had come through the rift, Hang Qing pressed the attack. Rapid martial techniques tore into its armored hide, ripping it open repeatedly, though its regeneration kept it alive. The crocodile countered, launching more stone spikes. It now resembled a living spiked mace, forcing Hang Qing to defend. Just then, a stone pillar cracked open behind him, revealing a crimson eye. An ambush! A black-furred arm seized Hang Qing's head. The Tier 5 overlord, the bloody black ape, had been hiding inside the spire. It slammed Hang Qing toward the ground to kill him instantly. Realizing the strike would be fatal, Hang Qing sacrificed one arm to survive. He barely avoided death. The bloody black ape only grinned, satisfied that there was no one stronger left in the city, meaning it could kill freely. It had confirmed humanity's last hope, and nothing stopped its massacre. Hang Qing stayed expressionless. With one arm, he summoned huge stone blades shaped from the Crocodile King stone forest and sent them spinning toward the ape. The ape didn't move, arms folded, saying Hang Qing was only delaying his death. To it, this wasn't a fight anymore, but a game where it wanted to watch the strongest human break. The blades hit, tearing into its flesh, but it didn't react. It simply judged the attack as fast but weak. Hang Qing launched a second massive wave of stone, but the ape jumped over 100 meters, escaping easily. The stone tide crushed everything, yet the ape remained untouched, still mocking the attacks as too slow. Hang Qing heard its voice echo, telling him lower beings shouldn't meet its eyes. He paused briefly, surprised at its mindset. Then it struck. Its palm came down, forcing Hang Qing's knees to crack, but he didn't fully fall. He stayed half-crouched, calm, and steady. The ape was confused by his lack of fear. Hang Qing placed his hand on the ground and replied that the beast had misjudged the situation. Bloodburn, forbidden art, Earthpole seal. He hadn't been trapped. He had lured the ape here because this area held his final move. The ground liquefied and spun into a vortex, dragging the ape down. The more it resisted, the deeper it sank. The ape dismissed the seal, claiming it couldn't hold him forever and promising destruction once it escaped. Hang Qing smiled with grim resolve, saying it wasn't a trap but a human declaration. He lifted his shirt, showing a glowing star-shaped wound over his heart, and thrust his arm through his own chest, blood pouring out. The ape froze in shock as Hang Qing coughed blood but remained firm. At the start of the war, Hang Qing buried Aining's only tactical nuke beneath Swan Lake. The trigger was tied to his heart, and once it stopped, the bomb would detonate. The bloody black ape dismissed it, calling him insane and claiming no one would gamble their life like this. Hang Qing smiled, saying he never expected to survive because as the mayor of Aining, he had sworn to give everything for the city, including his life. He closed his eyes. The detonation erased both him and the beast in one instant. A mushroom cloud rose. The evacuated warriors watched in silence, their eyes wet but steady, saluting the blast. Shuzhou and the others bowed, recognizing it as a funeral for their leader. Everything within 10 kilometers was vaporized, leaving a molten crater. In the red lava, something moved. A charred, barely human form shook as burnt flesh fell away, exposing bone with an orange crystal embedded inside. The crystal glowed one last time. Threads of blood spread, rebuilding muscle, sinew, and nerves. The bloody black ape opened its eyes. Its body regenerated, skin and black fur returning. Its gaze filled with vengeance. It had come close to death at the hands of a human. Rage consumed it. It vowed to kill everyone in the city and make them suffer. It decided to retreat to recover and return later to destroy everything. But as it turned, killing intent washed over it. A young warrior rushed toward it, wrapped in blue light. The ape recognized him, the one who fought alongside the mayor. The warrior charged, saying he was late. He pushed past his limits, cells igniting as blue lightning burned through his arm. Atomic strike fist. The punch hit squarely. The ape did not dodge and took it head-on. The sky burst with blinding blue light. The bloody black ape pushed through the blast, forcing its way forward. He realized it was resisting and advancing. The ape mocked him, calling this a chance. He replied that if the beast had run, his mini tactical nuke might have missed, but now it would take a second one. The atomic reactor inside his body ignited, blue lightning bursting out. Recognizing the energy, the ape screamed in disbelief before it was consumed by light and heat. Several kilometers away, warriors fighting remaining beasts saw the explosion and wondered if it was another nuke. The smaller mushroom cloud still shook the ground, and they speculated it might be another contingency planned by the mayor. As the dust faded, the bloody black ape crawled from the crater, barely alive. Before it could recover, a massive figure appeared, over 40 meters tall, skin like stone and glowing veins, armor and a tail like a siege weapon. It was E's Titan Magra form. The ape stared in disbelief at how monstrous he now appeared. It looked down coldly and struck, sending the ape flying across terrain. He chased after it and attacked again. Enraged, the beast countered despite its injuries. Their blows collided, sending shockwaves through the air. The ape was launched like a meteor, but E's own arm was damaged by the force. His regeneration repaired it within seconds. He examined the ape, struggling to stand. The beast looked at his healed arm and finally accepted it could not win. It turned to flee. He smirked, activated his energy cores, and his back lit with a crystal-like structure. He declared the beast unworthy of being the cause of the mayor's sacrifice and released atomic breath. The beam hit, engulfing the ape and driving it into the ground, leaving a deep crater. He sensed movement beneath the soil. The beast was tunneling, trying to reach its domain to escape. He expanded a biomagnetic field, tracking it underground. As expected, it was heading for the domain gate. He narrowed his eyes and prepared to intercept, refusing to let it escape. The second blast of atomic breath tore through the ground and exposed the ape, throwing it through the air before crashing it into the earth. It realized the domain gate was close, but before it could reach it, a colossal fist struck from above and drove it back into the crater. He declared the price for touching the mayor. Pushed beyond its limits, the ape burned the last of its core energy and restored its right arm. It charged forward, attacking in desperation. He met the punch directly. Their fists collided, shattering the air, and E's arm was destroyed, but he remained unfazed. The punch had exhausted the ape completely, leaving it finished. He began forming another atomic breath to end it. Before he could release it, intense pain struck his mind, and he nearly collapsed. Forcing demonic energy through his core and invoking the star god's protection stabilized him. He scanned the area and saw countless white arms emerging from the ruins. The wounded ape was being carried away by them toward the distance. He tried to pull it back, but similar hands bound his tightened body, locking his movement. He detonated the atomic reactor. Temperatures rose past 1,000 degrees, his titan form erupting into cobalt light. The armor melted, revealing molten blue flesh, and the jade arms were burned to ash. The crippled ape was carried to within 50 meters of the rift. Seeing he advancing, it felt fear. He crushed the ground beneath his steps, incinerating the field of arms. He reached out, blazing hand extended, ready to seize the beast before it could escape. But at that instant, an eerie woman's laughter echoed from the rift. Pale arms poured out in endless waves, and at their center, a woman's head emerged. Her eyes were hidden beneath mask-like hands, only her smiling lips visible. Ahei recognized immediately that this presence wasn't just a beast, but something far beyond Apex class. If her full form appeared, he would be erased instantly. She sensed him. Her mouth opened and released a shriek that pierced his mind. The Titan's neck split open, and he tore himself free in a frenzy, drenched in blood. Furious, he forced all remaining atomic energy into the Titan core and detonated it. The Titan melted into a burning skeleton of bone and blue flame, which he controlled and charged toward the rift. Every reaching hand was incinerated as the ground split apart. Ahei drove the flaming giant into the rift, and a surge of white and blue light consumed everything. The woman's gaze stayed fixed on him until the end, filled with fury. The explosion burst through the rift, clearing the battlefield. Warriors watching from afar saw the rift detonate and rallied, determined not to waste a sacrifice. The bloody ape was obliterated, and the invasion stopped as the rift collapsed. The defenders fought for a full day and night, eliminating every remaining monster until the last one fell. The battle for Aining had been won, but at immense cost. Over 80% of its warriors were dead, nearly the entire defense force gone. Yet, deep within the ruins of Swan Lake, at the center of the devastation, Ahei finally opened his eyes after days unconscious. Though he had poured every drop of atomic energy into detonating the Titan form, the land soaked in radiation had become the very source keeping him alive, slowly restoring his body. Looking at his hands, he let out a dry chuckle. That battle had dragged him to the edge. If Mayor Heng hadn't dragged the bloody ape into the blast zone, if the fallout hadn't turned into his advantage, and if he hadn't kept detonating himself with a monster template, that creature might have escaped with the head intact. Survival had come from timing, terrain, and luck. Even with his template, he understood clearly he was still far from the peak. BG-level beasts were terrifying, and one mistake meant complete erasure. He stared up at the dim sky, urgency building. He needed time, but he needed power faster. The quickest path was fusing with the planetary Godzilla template, but that required plant-type monster cores, and time was already slipping away. A month passed in an instant. Through news reports, Ahei learned the true scale of devastation. 18 cities were attacked. 12 had fallen completely, becoming hunting grounds. Guanshan City was the worst. An unexpected S-class rift appeared. The city vanished in gray fog, and all contact was cut. The National Martial Authority sent its elite strike force, 30 warriors and 5 grandmasters led by Du Jingming. All disappeared. Later, Fu Hong Zan, a Patriot-class warrior, entered personally. 8 hours later, he emerged covered in blood, carrying only 2 survivors. Guanshan was declared the 11th life-forbidden zone. Its 1.8 million residents were gone. Ahei clenched his fists. Even a Patriot class nearly died. An entire city erased. Humanity was reaching its limit. He rose abruptly and shut off the news, immediately calling Sheen. Her familiar lazy tone came through as she guessed he wanted martial arts. Ahei shook his head. What he needed were high-quality plant-type monster cores, blue tier or purple lord grade. Silence followed, then amusement. She noted the rarity. Plant cores were scarce, quality ones nearly mythical, and asked what she would gain. He answered without hesitation. During the Huad University Entrance Secret Realm trial, he would team with Lu Qingzhu and secure first place. Guaranteed. She questioned whether he understood the level of competition, noting Lu Qingzhu barely ranked mid-level among the true prodigies. Ahei stayed composed, pointing out she wasn't placing the Lu family's stake on anyone else, offering a written vow. If he failed, he would serve their family for life. She laughed, amused by his bold promise, then breathed out and accepted. She would help once and only once. Outside First People's Hospital, a black and gold motorcycle came to a halt. He hopped off his brother-in-law's gifted motorcycle. People immediately recognized him. calling out that the top marshal candidate had arrived. Injured patients stared in disbelief, claiming he looked untouched and asking for autographs and contacts. Ahei waved them off, surprised at the sudden popularity, and headed to room 6 where Chuho and Lu Shun were recovering. The sight nearly made him laugh. Chuho, usually the city's most polished figure, was wrapped entirely in bandages with only one eye showing. Ahei teased him, while Chuho complained he was either visiting or mocking them, and asked about the pile of items Ahei carried. He explained they were fan gifts. Another voice spoke up, Lu Shun, his first opponent from the qualifier. Ahei blinked before noticing Lu Shun's injured leg, shifting tone as he acknowledged the boy's spirit. Lu Shun caught their pitying looks and rolled his eyes, insisting he wasn't dying. Even if his leg failed, he could get surgery or a combat prosthetic, which now came with cannons. Ahei's phone suddenly rang from an unknown number. He declined it, marked it spam, and blocked it. Seconds later, it rang again from a different number. Someone clearly wasn't giving up. This time, his high school principal called, asking if he had blocked an important figure from the capital. Ahei froze. He had just committed social disaster. He unblocked the number and answered, hoping to fix it. On the line was Wang Tao, head of Huadu University admissions. He informed him that the capital university semester would begin a month early and a private train would pick him up in 3 days. Ahei's inner voice had no idea what to respond, but outwardly he simply agreed. Chuho received the same call, replying smoothly like a model student. 2 future capital elites recovering in one hospital room felt like a top score suite. Lu Shun looked at them, then slowly covered his face, convinced he didn't belong on the bed. Before Ahei reported in, he had one more task. Days later, the sky above Swan Lake's blast zone remained gray, debris turning the region into perpetual twilight. At its center, Ahei sat in meditation on heat-melted glassy ground. He entered Damonra's state, absorbing lingering radiation. Obsidian-like skin coated him. The crystalline spine on his back pulsed, misted energy circling him while heat vented off his body. His eyes opened, blue light flashing as he checked his status panel. Infinite monster template host. Ahei overall physique. 27.4 active templates. Berserker, Damonra sync rate. 38.9% Titan form sync rate. 90% after the Bloody A battle, his Damonra sync had risen by 1.5%. A massive leap at this level. With 3 days of exposure to pure radiation and atomic decay energy, Ahei would gain another solid 6%. The wasteland had become more than a battlefield. It was a training paradise. But time was up. He bent his knees, gathering atomic energy beneath his feet like a coiled spring. With a blinding flash of blue light, he launched upward. At Aining's Bullet train station, the PA announced the departure of train G666 to Huadu West, signaling passengers to proceed to ticket check-in. Chuho waited near the platform, calm and collected, eyes flicking toward the sky. Ahei arrived moments later, dropping from above and landing with flawless precision. Ahei moved past the crowd, scanning the train as he prepared to board. Inside, the train carried the nation's most elite students, each a provincial champion destined to become a pillar of SIA's future defenses. The train itself was constructed from advanced military alloys, designed to withstand impacts from thousands of tons, including attacks from king-tier monsters. Several Schwarm-level warriors and hidden grandmasters were stationed as escorts, ready to act without warning. Expanding his biofield, Ahei assessed the hidden powerhouses within the train, determining that no more than a handful could last 3 moves against him. The calm of the moment shattered when a deafening explosion rocked the train, followed by a blaring alarm and a level 1 alert. Students and staff scrambled as chaos erupted inside the carriages. Shujo looked at Ahei with a sharp gaze, demanding his opinion. Ahei groaned, exhausted from 3 days of non-stop training and wanting nothing more than sleep. Yet he rose anyway. He chose movement over waiting and decided to check the situation. Their carriage was near the rear, so Ahei and Chuho advanced carefully, alert and scanning for danger. Upon reaching the 5th car, a freshman drenched in blood stumbled toward them. Ahei rushed in time to catch him before he collapsed. The freshman was pale, shaking and terrified. He explained that the enemy had already seized the first 3 cars using a domain ability that isolated battles from outside detection. Nearly all of the Schwan-level escorts were dead, and the surviving escorts had forcefully expelled him from the domain so he could warn everyone. He revealed his name as Zhao Jingxian, insisted the threat was real, and urged everyone to escape. His warning froze students who had been preparing to move for him. A burly student with a lion-like mane stepped forward, refusing to believe Zhao Jingxian and questioning the credibility of his survival. He had a friend in the front cars whom he believed to be stronger, so he marched toward the danger, and several others followed with equal confidence. Zhao Jingxian panicked as more ignored him, desperately trying to stop them. Then he suddenly focused on He, recognizing him from a photograph shown earlier by a girl named Lu Qingzhu. She had been injured while protecting Zhao Jingxian and had instructed him to find He and send him to the front cars if anything went wrong. He dismissed Zhao Jingxian's dramatic tone, noting that Lu Qingzhu was still alive, then tapped Chuho's shoulder and moved forward to investigate. Chuho questioned his decision, but He continued because he had promised. Zhao Jingxian suddenly stepped in front of them, blocking the way. Zhao Jingxian tried to resist, but He's fist struck with crushing force, leaving him doubled over. He placed a blood recovery pill in his hand and dusted off his sleeves before moving on. He gestured to Chuho, and they advanced to the doorway, leading to car 3. The air around the door felt heavy. He tested the mist with an abandoned suitcase, which vanished without a trace, swallowed entirely by the haze. Life force detection failed to penetrate it. Freshmen had gone in earlier, and He's curiosity sharpened. He and Chuho stepped into the swirling mist, their forms twisting and dissolving like ink in water. On the other side, Chuho had disappeared, leaving He alone. A wave of dizziness hit as he sensed something was manipulating the space. Ahead, a faint light flickered. He moved toward it, and a cold wind slammed into him. The train and carriages were gone, replaced by a desolate landscape. The sky was dull gray, and crumbling ruins surrounded him. Seeking high ground, he launched himself into the air, landing atop a crumbling skyscraper to survey the horizon. He summoned his inner force, shaping his hands into a sphere that drew in volatile atomic energy. Even without life force sensing, he felt a hostile gaze watching him like prey. Energy exploded from his hands, shattering the gray mist and jolting the silent city awake. He hurled the sphere into the sky, triggering a massive blast that tore the clouds apart, sending a shock wave through the entire area. Across the city, freshmen froze, wide-eyed at the massive explosion overhead. Some stared in shock, others in admiration, and a few remained indifferent. For Chuho, it was unmistakably He's signal. Sword in hand, he raced toward the source of the blast. In a high rise, Lu Qingzhu's pale face reflected the blue light flashing through the window, instantly recognizing him. Atop a rooftop, He scanned the restless city, aware that his move would draw both allies and enemies. Heavy footsteps sounded behind him. A bizarre figure clad in black, wearing a white pig-headed mask, approached. In one hand, it dragged a rusty chain. In the other, it wielded a blood-stained dagger. He read the threat instantly. Blue flames erupted under his feet as he lunged, swinging a fist at the masked figure. The pig-headed man's dagger shot out like lightning, bypassing He's defenses and stabbing deep into his abdomen. At the same time, He's fist slammed into the figure's skull, releasing heat intense enough to melt steel, yet the skull remained intact. The masked man tried to pull the blade free, but it stayed locked, and He's rapid regeneration rendered the attack ineffective. He pried open the mask, delivering a direct atomic breath into the figure's mouth. The blue beam seared through, incinerating the head and severing the neck. He hoisted the severed pig mask, inspecting it, and found a pendant inside. The item confirmed what he had anticipated, a clue tied to Huad's trial and the next challenge waiting ahead. He examined the pendant, realizing the masked man's weapon had been infused with a high-level warrior's aura, giving it its deadly edge. Once the aura faded, it was just scrap metal. The pendant suggested there were more masked enemies to hunt and more pendants to collect. Suddenly, a sharp whistle split the air, followed by a vicious wind rushing toward him. Shadowy figures lunged from all directions, snapping arrows mid-flight. Before he could fully respond, a razor-sharp spear burst from the floor, skewering his foot and aiming for his heart, while a volley of arrows rained down from a hidden archer. Ihei summoned the giant's power within his bloodline. Blazing heat erupted across his body as massive rib bones sprouted and fused with regenerating flesh, forming a demon armor. The spear was deflected by the armored cage of bone and flesh. He gripped the spear, preventing the attacker from escaping, and slammed his other fist into the ground, the resulting blast shattering the rooftop. Dropping down smoothly, he avoided further ambushes. From afar, onlookers only saw the building collapse, unaware of the battle that had just taken place. Ahead, a rabbit-masked figure appeared, wielding a pristine spear. The weapons of these masked fighters could regenerate endlessly as long as the warriors lived. The rabbit-headed figure bent his legs, launching himself with explosive force like a cannonball. Ihei countered with a horizontal kick, but the enemy's flexible body absorbed the blow, spinning effortlessly midair. A flash of cold steel followed as the spear thrust toward him. At that moment, an ice wall erupted across the battlefield, freezing the spear mid-motion. Chuho had arrived, trapping the rabbit-headed man within a tightening maze of frost. Chuho attacked with his sword, engaging the masked fighter in a rapid exchange of strikes. Despite the spear's reach, the rabbit-headed man found no opening. Chuho unleashed a burst of icy power, freezing the spear solid, and struck the opponent's chest. The masked fighter managed to absorb most of the blow, but two massive hands lunged from the darkness, clamping down with crushing force. A mocking presence declared its capture. At the same moment, a massive stream of blue energy ripped through the sky, cleaving the gray clouds in two. A few minutes earlier, inside an abandoned high-rise, two figures observed the aftermath in silence, noting the emptiness of the area and the overwhelming power that had just appeared. The energy blast was unlike anything mass fighters could produce, far beyond what ordinary students could handle. Elsewhere, freshmen hunting mass fighters paused mid-chase, staring at the blinding beam. One planted his massive broadsword into the ground, resting its tip on a fallen horse-headed fighter, while another assessed the attack, noting that its style did not match the mass fighters. The realization spread that the blast had to be the work of an exceptionally powerful freshman, likely one with multiple zodiac pendants already collected. Among the known collectors, some held the rat, dog, monkey, and horse pendants. Others had sheep, snake, and ox. Only the pig, rabbit, rooster, tiger, and dragon pendants remained unaccounted for, with the dragon representing a lethal threat. The freshman who fired the blue beam was clearly a key player, and others would soon be drawn to him. The trial was entering its final phase, with students set to actively hunt the masked fighters to collect the remaining pendants.